Chapter 993. Are you jealous? It's nothing. I just wanted to tell you that I'm about to break through to Earth class early phase peak, but it doesn't seem like it's good news anymore. Danson sighed. Has things been going too smoothly for our house you these past few years? Then I must congratulate you, big brother. Shueishing smiled bitterly, not feeling happy at all. This was supposed to be a good thing, but now he was drowning in sorrow. All right, I'm hanging up. Training time's almost up, Danson said. All right, big brother, call us often when you have time. Shueishing said. After hanging up, Shueishing called Yufeng to his study. Now, Yufeng was the only one in House U who could discuss matters. Yukuan was lying on his sickbed, depressed. There was no way he could recover his strength, and other than sighing every day, he would cry in front of his father's portrait. Shueishing blamed himself. Father, you were looking for me? Yufeng pushed the door open and asked carefully. Your uncle called. Shueishing said as he looked at his son. Your uncle is about to break through to Earth class early phase peak. It's good news, but for the current House U, it's not that great of news. Yeah, we'd be really happy if it were any other time. Yufeng sighed. Father, then what does uncle say about third uncle? Your uncle hasn't gotten a firm foothold in the hidden House U yet, and he can't use their power. He can't just come out like that either. Shueishing said, but your uncle's suggestion is to find out more about Lin first, and see what kind of background Lin has. Then, Father, you're saying that we should stick to our original plan and have me go to Songshan? Yufeng asked quickly. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Shueishing nodded. This time, you're not going to Songshan under House U's name. Lin, he hasn't seen you, and he won't suspect you. Change your name, and I'll transfer you to Lin Yi's school. You just need to investigate Lin Yi's background. I understand. Then Lin Yi and I can't have a direct confrontation, right? Yufeng nodded and asked. That's not it. According to my investigation, Lin Yi treats different people differently. Shueishing opened the file in his hand and pushed it to Yufeng. Take a look. Lin Yi's never killed any of his classmates. Yufeng took the information from his father and carefully looked through it. Indeed, according to the information, Lin Yi had never been ruthless towards his classmates. Even if they provoked him, it was just a simple lesson. If that's the case, then I don't have to worry too much, Yufeng said after looking at the information. Plus, if we were to really compare strength, I'm a mystic early phase peak, and I can beat him for sure. Xiaofeng, remember, you can't casually reveal your strength. Shueishing waved his hand and said solemnly, when you transfer, I'm preparing to give you the identity of a rich second-generation young master. You can compete with Lin Yi, but that's only within the school. It's a competition between classmates. Even if you want to fight, you have to do it in the dark. Don't fight him in the open, understand? Understand. Yufeng nodded. As long as I don't fight him, it'll be fine. I won't let him know that I'm a practitioner, and I won't reveal that I'm from House U. I'll gather intel on Lin Yi from his side. That's right. Shueishing nodded. All right, go prepare yourself. I'll handle the enrollment procedures for you right now. Lin Yi turned his head because the homeroom teacher, Miss Liu, had already entered the classroom. The classroom quietened down. After all, 12th graders had high self-awareness, and the teacher's arrival meant that class was about to start. Those who stayed here for the night study were all students who loved to study. However, this time, Teacher Liu didn't walk in alone. Beside her, there was a very handsome boy who had reached the point of being extremely handsome. There were two other boys behind him, but they weren't as eye-catching. One was short and chubby, like a pickled cabbage jar, and the other was tall and skinny, like a bamboo pole. He looked like the fat monk from Jin Yang's wuxia dramas. The handsome boy attracted a wave of girls as he entered the classroom. After all, 12th graders were in love, and most girls would instinctively admire handsome boys. This person's handsomeness was completely different from Lin Yi's. Lin Yi was more of the manly type, while this boy could only be described as exquisite. Everyone quiet down. I'll introduce our new classmates. Miss Liu brought the exquisite boy to the front of the class podium and said to everyone, these three are our new transfer students, Xie Yufeng, Li Penghu, and Wang Tsongming. He was a transfer student from Southern Blue. Next, Student Xie will introduce himself to everyone. Everyone, please give him a round of applause. Boys like Xie Yufeng were very popular with the girls, and the first impression they had of him was definitely more pleasing to the eye than Lin Yi. And so, Xie Yufeng's appearance drew a huge round of applause. Xie Yufeng elegantly tidied his hair and made a shushing gesture before smiling and looking at the students below the podium. The Xie Yufeng in front of her had sexy lips, a tall nose, and under his eyebrows was a pair of long and narrow eyes covered with thick eyelashes. His eyes were like a bottomless pool of black water, and his clear eyes shone with a faint light like a starstone. This kind of exquisite appearance was definitely a killer for young girls, a killer move. Hello, everyone. My name is Xie Yufeng, and I'm from Nanxing, a coastal city in the south. Because of my family's business, I transferred to Songshan's first school. I hope we can become good friends. Thank you, Xie Yufeng said elegantly to the students. I have many hobbies. I'm good at basketball, football, singing. This guy's so handsome. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but exclaim after seeing Xie Yufeng. Really? That's great. You can sit with him later. Lin Yi smiled. Chapter 994. New transfer student. Why would I be jealous of him? I'm more than happy that you like him and don't bother me anymore. Lin Yi said nonchalantly. Who said I like him? Why would I like him? Xiao Xiao shook her head. He's handsome, but people like him are just a side character. In novels and dramas, they're all tragic characters. Oh, Lin Yi paused and looked at Xiao Xiao curiously. You've seen Slam Dunk, right? Isn't Rukawa Kid very handsome? But he's just a side character. Xiao Xiao said, Look, you're not as handsome as him, but you're like Sakuraji Hanamichi. Huh. Lin Yi didn't expect Xiao Xiao's theory to be this interesting. He couldn't help but laugh. That's why I still like you. Xiao Xiao said. Lin Yi didn't say anything, only looking at Yufeng with interest. Xie Yufeng? What was the reason for him to transfer here at this time? Lin Yi wouldn't believe that this Xie Yufeng didn't have any ulterior motives. Don't forget that Lin Yi had a special cheat. He could sense the strength of a spiritual practitioner. Even if the spiritual practitioner didn't use their arts to show their strength, Lin Yi would still be able to sense their strength. What surprised Lin Yi the most was that this Xie Yufeng had the strength of a mystic early phase peak spiritual practitioner. A person like this came here to study? Then wasn't this master a little too worthless? Any random person could be a master? But what shocked Lin Yi was Yufeng's youth. He looked like he was only 19, and he already had the strength of a mystic early phase peak. His strength was about the same as Lin Yi's. One had to know that Lin Yi had just leveled up a few times recently, reaching the middle phase of mystic division. Xie Yufeng, Lin Yi memorized this name. It didn't matter why he was here, as long as he didn't mess with him, it'd be fine. If he messed with him, then don't blame him for being impolite. This Xie Yufeng was still introducing himself non-stop on the stage, but Xiao Xiao didn't seem to care about him at all. After one compliment, she didn't even look at him anymore. She turned back to Lin Yi. I think you're more handsome than him. Lin Yi, I will definitely make you my boyfriend. Then what about Tang Yun? Lin Yi asked back. She's the main wife. I'm his second wife. Xiao Xiao said. Isn't that fine? Nothing will be affected. Lin Yi was speechless. Why did this girl look a little like Yushu? They were both mischievous and mischievous. Lin Yi thought about it carefully. Apart from their different styles, the two of them had something in common. Meng Yao and Yushu, on the other hand, were talking about Xie Yufeng. Meng Yao raised her head when Miss Liu was introducing the new students. She looked at the three students on the podium without any emotion in her eyes, as if she was just trying to recognize them. Meng Yao's eyes were devoid of emotion. She looked at Yufeng, Penghu, and Song Ming in the same way, not lingering on anyone's face for too long. After looking at them, Meng Yao turned her attention back to her English book. Yao Yao sis, look, that Xie Yufeng is quite handsome. Yushu said, Oh, so you don't like your shield bro anymore? Meng Yao smiled. How is that possible? Yushu shook her head. Can being handsome make a living? Shield bro can roast shark meat for me, so I still like shield bro. Huh, Meng Yao chuckled. I thought you'd fallen in love with someone else. I'm just a small wife. If Yao Yao doesn't fall in love with someone else, how could I fall in love with someone else? Yushu said. Oh, Meng Yao replied meaninglessly. Lin Yi didn't know what she was trying to say. On the stage, Yu Feng had finished his self-introduction, and the crowd applauded him again. He moved slightly to the side, letting Peng Hu and Song Ming come up. I'm Peng Hu, Master Xie's bodyguard. Peng Hu didn't hide his identity at all, shaking his fat body as he spoke. I'm Song Ming, Master Xie's strategist. Song Ming did a simple self-introduction, not hiding his identity at all. These two came with Yu Feng, and their goal was simple. They wanted to be Yu Feng's followers. They could run errands for him if he needed help. Wah dash, the crowd gasped. In this day and age, it wasn't rare for a rich young master to come to a private school like Songshan's first school, but it was rare to see two lackeys with him. Moreover, these two followers didn't hide their identity, which made the female students in the class a little envious. This was what a rich young master should be like, having a bodyguard and strategist with him when he went out. So cool. Only those popular Hong Kong dramas would have scenes like this. Yao Yao. He has followers too, but they're a far cry for Shield Bro. They're just two idiots. Yushu said, giving Peng Hu and Song Ming a direct evaluation. Maybe someone likes to bring two idiots out. Meng Yao wasn't interested in whether or not Yu Feng had lackeys. It had nothing to do with her. The homeroom teacher, Mr. Liu, frowned after hearing Peng Hu and Song Ming's introduction. He didn't know what this Yu Feng's background was, but he heard that he was introduced by someone from the school, and his family was powerful, but he didn't know what he did. However, Teacher Liu felt that it was a bit too much to bring along two attendants, a bodyguard and a military counselor, when they went to school. After all, the chairman's daughter, Meng Yao, was also in the same class, and she didn't have any special treatment, bringing a bodyguard and strategist. In fact, the miss also had a bodyguard and strategist, but the bodyguard was Lin Yi, and the strategist was Yushu. Under the podium, Pin Liang and Xiaofu were also analyzing Yu Feng's background. Liang bro, where did this Xie Yu Feng come from? Why did he bring two lackeys with him? Didn't he steal your limelight, Liang bro? Xiaofu said unhappily. Chapter 995. The singing competition. Who cares where he's from? It has nothing to do with us. Pin Liang said calmly. If he wants to be the boss, then let him be. As long as he doesn't mess with us, let him be. Oh, Liang bro, why are you so calm now? Xiaofu was surprised by Pin Liang's words. Fighting for the title of young thug, or boss, is something only a kid would do. Pin Liang said with a wave of his hand. We're mature now. We don't do that anymore. The Real Masters keep a low profile. Oh, I understand. Gao Xiaofu quickly nodded. We'll watch from the sidelines. If this Yu Feng can go up against Lin Yi, then that'll be great. If not, then it has nothing to do with us. Pin Yang said faintly. All right, the three of you can sit at the right back of the classroom for now. Teacher Liu pointed at the back of the classroom. There's an empty table there. Since you three know each other, you can sit together. If there's a suitable seat, I'll arrange it again. Teacher Liu wanted Yu Feng to sit at the front, but it seemed like they weren't here to study. So Teacher Liu treated them coldly. But Yu Feng and the other two weren't picky. It didn't matter where they sat. Teacher Liu told them to sit at the back of the classroom, and Yu Feng nodded politely. Yes, teacher. Seeing that Yu Feng didn't object and was even being polite, Teacher Liu's impression of Yu Feng changed a little. Maybe Yu Feng's family arranged for him to be a follower, and it had nothing to do with him. Lin Yi looked at Yu Feng and shook his head when he realized that he wasn't looking at him. Was he being too cautious? But just when Lin Yi looked away, Yu Feng's eyes shot towards Lin Yi. It was only for an instant, but he looked away and continued walking to his seat. How strong was Lin Yi's sixth sense? Lin Yi noticed Yu Feng's gaze. Yu Feng was looking at him. Why is he looking at me? Was it because she was looking at him? One had to know that the senses of mystics were very strong. As long as Lin Yi didn't try to hide it, then Yu Feng would be able to tell that Lin Yi was looking at him. It was normal for him to look back. All right, after introducing the new students, I have something to announce. Teacher Liu waited until Yu Feng, Peng Hu, and Song Ming sat down before continuing. In order to relieve everyone's stress, to add some fun to the boring 12th grade life, and to let everyone relax, the school has decided to hold a singing competition for the 12th grade. First, they would compete in the class, and the winners would advance to the year finals. Of course, this activity was not compulsory. Students who were interested in singing could sign up. They could sing solo or in a group. Those who did not know how to sing could also be in the audience. Of course, it doesn't matter if you're tone deaf. You can still rap and sing. Aren't rappers popular now? Teacher Lou's words caused the students in the class to burst into laughter. The 12th grade life was indeed boring, so the occasional small activity would make everyone excited. The singing competition was often held around the time of the first and second years of high school's art festival. At that time, it was not a big deal, but once they entered the third year of high school, the stressful study life made many students feel suffocated. The only group activities they had were also very precious. So, Teacher Lou's words got the support of most of the students. Everyone cheered. When you're tired from studying at night, you can practice singing. Although it's just entertainment, if you can get a place in your grade, it's still a very glorious thing. Teacher Lou said, "I hope everyone can sign up. The top 10 of your grade will get a scholarship of 1,000 to 10,000 yuan. Wow. Everyone was even more excited when they heard that they could get a prize. There were indeed some rich students in Songshan's first school, but most of them got in based on their results. These students didn't come from good families, so 10,000 yuan was a lot. If you could get a 10,000 yuan stipend just by singing a song, it would still be worth it. As a result, some of the students who were just here to watch the show were eager to sign up. Yao Yao, are we participating in the singing competition? Yushu asked. Of course. Ming Yao nodded. Let's go practice later. Ming Yao's father was a board member of the school board, and as the miss of the school, it was only natural that she would support and participate in all the activities organized by the school. So, every time there was an art festival, sports event, and so on, Ming Yao would always sign up. Ming Yao didn't want people to criticize her. Her identity was very sensitive, so she had to set an example. It's not good to do it at home. Our house isn't as good as KTV. Let's go practice at KTV. Yushu was more of a playful person. KTV? Ming Yao hesitated, but Yushu was right. The karaoke system in the house had been renovated, and they rarely touched it. The songs on it hadn't been updated yet, and they didn't even know if they could still use it. Going to KTV to practice was the easiest way. But Ming Yao heard that KTV was a place where people from the underworld often went. It wasn't safe for her and Shu to go together. Then let's bring Linny with us. Send him a text and ask him if he's free tonight. Oh, okay. Yushu was going to bring Lin Yi with her even if Ming Yao didn't mention it. Right, let's bring Tang Yun as well. Ming Yao felt that it wouldn't be good if they brought Lin Yi without Tang Yun, so she told Shu. Tang Yun? Okay. Yushu nodded unwillingly. She subconsciously saw Tang Yun as her rival in love, but Yao Yao seemed to have accepted Tang Yun all of a sudden. Yushu wasn't used to it. At that moment, Lin Yi was talking to Xiao Xiao about the singing competition. Linny, are you participating in the singing competition? Xiao Xiao asked. I don't know how to sing. Lin Yi said faintly. You don't know how to sing? I'll teach you. I know how to sing. We could do a group? Xiao Xiao suggested. Chapter 996. Chapter 994 verified it wasn't that Lin Yi wasn't interested, but he really didn't know how to sing. When it came to singing, Lin Yi had only heard his old man hum a couple of songs from the 70s and 80s. As for the current songs, Lin Yi had never heard of them before. He didn't even know who the superstar Su Shirhan was. And so, Lin Yi decided not to sign up for the singing competition at all. Maybe me and Tang Yin Sis, the three of us can form a singing group? Xiao Xiao continued to tempt Lin Yi. Look, you have two beauties, big and small. Isn't that great? Oh, you can ask Tang Yin then. Lin Yi felt that he'd rejected enough, and it was time for him to compromise a little. Pretending to be someone else's boyfriend wasn't easy at all. He couldn't let Xiao Xiao know that he was a fake, and he had to accept her step by step. To be honest, This was harder than leveling up for Lin Yi. Luckily, it wasn't as if Lin Yi didn't like Xiao Xiao at all. At least in Yinjing, Lin Yi had a new understanding of this weird girl. Lin Yi didn't respond to Xiao Xiao's confession, mainly because he didn't know her true intentions. Lin Yi was afraid that she'd hurt Tang Yun, so he ignored her. But now that Tang Yun knew the truth, and Lin Yi was under orders to hit on girls, he turned back to Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi felt that she was quite cute. At least she was a straightforward person and dared to take responsibility for what she did. She might be a little messy sometimes, but thinking about her pitiful life, Lin Yi could understand. I'll text her right now. Xiao Xiao happily took out her phone to text Tang Yun after hearing Lin Yi agree. But before she could send the text, Lin Yi's phone came in first. Lin Yi opened his phone and saw that it was a message from Yushu. Shield bro, Yao Yao sis, and I are going to KTV to practice singing tonight. Will you protect us? You can bring your family members along. Family members? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile at Yushu's message. It was rare that the Miss and Shu's attitude towards Tang Yun had changed. At least they weren't as hostile as before. This was a good thing. Little Shu asked politely, but Lin Yi had no reason to refuse, so he replied, Okay. Who's texting you? Xiao Xiao thought it was Tang Yun who was texting Lin Yi, so she stopped typing. Yushu, Lin Yi said. She asked me to go to the KTV with him tonight to practice. Then I'll go too. Xiao Xiao said quickly. Lin Yi thought about it. Since the Miss allowed Lin Yi to bring people along, then it wouldn't matter if Xiao Xiao went alone. He nodded. All right, can you text Tang Yun? Okay, I'll text her right now. Xiao Xiao said happily after seeing that Lin Yi agreed. The singing competition was organized by the entire 12th grade, so Miss Liu was notifying everyone in Lin Yi's class, and so was Tang Yun's class. Tang Yun got Xiao Xiao's text, saying that she was going to the KTV with Lin Yi tonight. She didn't even think about it before agreeing. After all, Tang Yun wanted to create more chances for Xiao Xiao to interact with Lin Yi. Who knew what her future would be like? Lin Yi, Tang Yun disagreed. She's coming with us, Xiao Xiao said excitedly. She didn't think that Tang Yun would accept her this easily. It seemed that as long as she worked hard, she wouldn't have to worry about Lin Yi not liking her anymore. What did you say to Tang Yun? You weren't that close with her before? Lin Yi asked. Friendship between girls. You wouldn't understand. Xiao Xiao brushed it off. Lin Yi didn't ask anymore after hearing Xiao Xiao's words. Of course he knew that this was Tang Yun's way of showing her friendliness. But he could only pretend that he didn't know. If he wasn't curious at all, then there would be a problem. After school, Lin Yi was about to call the Miss to ask where they were going when he saw that the Miss and Yushu had already packed their bags and turned to Lin Yi. Lin Yi had been driving them to school for the past few days, so there was no need to hide their relationship anymore. Lin Yi put down the phone and walked over to them, with Xiao Xiao following closely behind him. Where are we going tonight? Lin Yi asked after walking over. I don't know. Do you know any good karaoke places? Meng Yao had never been to a place like this before. Let's just look around then, Lin Yi said. There was a karaoke place next to me when I went to play pool last time. Let's go there then. Meng Yao nodded and looked at Shu. Oh, Shield bro. Did you bring your family? Yushu remembered that Meng Yao told her to let Lin Yi take care of Tang Yun. I did. My family is here. Xiao Xiao raised her hand before Lin Yi could say anything. You? Yushu's eyes went wide as she looked at Xiao Xiao, confused. I'm looking for Shield Bro's family. Who the hell are you? I'm his family. You're the onion. You're the garlic. Xiao Xiao was a little unhappy as she glared at Yushu. You? What family are you? Yushu blinked, not expecting Xiao Xiao to come out here for. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was troubled as well. Why was Xiao Xiao with Lin Yi, claiming to be Lin Yi's family? But with the Miss personality, as long as Tang Yun didn't push her too hard like last time at Fatty Lai's house, she wouldn't say anything. I'm Lin Yi's small wife. Xiao Xiao looked at Yushu proudly. Huh, you're Shield Bro's small wife? Impossible. I'm Shield Bro's small wife. Yushu glared at Xiao Xiao. You? Aren't you the best friend of Lin Yi's employer? Why are you pretending to be a small wife? Did you get Lin Yi's approval? Or did you get Lin Yi's big wife Tang Yun's approval? Xiao Xiao mocked as she looked at Yushu. Yao Yao is Shield Bro's big wife. I'm his small wife. Do I need approval? Yushu didn't want to lose. Then who did you get approval from? I got approval from Tang Yun's sis's small wife. Xiao Xiaohengf, what about you? You didn't get approval, did you? Even if you did, you're still a fake small wife. I got approval from Shield Bro. You're the fake small wife. Yushu humphed as well. Ask Shield Bro if you don't believe me. Chapter 997. Clash of Rivals. Shield Bro. Is this dumb girl your little wife? Yushu looked at Lin Yi pitifully. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He didn't think that Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao wouldn't get into a fight, but Yushu and Xiao Xiao got into a fight first. Yushu was weird, and Xiao Xiao was weird. The two were at loggerheads, neither willing to give in to the other. They weren't even at the KTV yet, and they were already fighting in the classroom. But just when Lin Yi was in a difficult spot, someone came to his rescue. It was Xie Yufeng. Yufeng walked up to the podium, with Peng Hu and Songming by his side. Everyone quiet down. Young master, Xie wants to say something to everyone. Li Penghu was the first to speak. The students in the class were all curious about this new transfer student. Hearing that he had something to say, the students who were packing their bags and preparing to leave school all looked up at him. Hello, everyone. I'm new to this class, and I don't have much I can help you with. I'm just in time for the school's singing competition, so I'm going to invite everyone to practice at the KTV tonight. I hope you can come. Yufeng said elegantly to the students, as if he wasn't inviting them to practice, but they were giving him face by doing so. One had to say, this Xie Yufeng really knew how to act. This made everyone instinctively have a good impression of him. With that, he looked around the class, not stopping on anyone. His main focus was on Lin Yi's movements. Seeing the three beauties around Lin Yi, he couldn't help but feel annoyed. There were three beauties in the class, and all of them seemed to have some sort of relationship with Lin Yi. This made Yufeng very unhappy. Wherever he went, he was the center of attention, and there were many beauties throwing themselves at him. But here, because of Lin Yi, something seemed to have changed. Xie Yufeng was House Yu's Yufeng. He came here just to add a surname in front of his name. Peng Hu and Songming, of course, were just random names. Their real identity was that of House Yu's servants. Yufeng's goal in coming to Songzhan this time was to find out about Lin Yi's background, but he didn't want to come here for nothing. He wanted to have some fun. House Yu's teachings were stricter, and he didn't have many chances to hit on girls. He did have beauties throwing themselves at him in school, but he didn't want his father to find out, so he didn't dare go overboard. He only did some one-night stands. Now that he was in Songzhan, the mountains were high and the emperor was far away. Yufeng really wanted to have some fun, especially when he realized that there were a lot of beauties in his class. Of course, Yufeng already had two targets in mind. One was Chu Pengzhan's daughter, Chu Mengyao. If he were to play with Chu Mengyao, he would be able to avenge Yukuan. The other target was naturally Lin Yi's girlfriend. Yufeng didn't know who Lin Yi's girlfriend was, but it didn't matter. Whichever girl was close to Lin Yi, Yufeng would get his hands on her. He couldn't fight Lin Yi head-on, but putting on a green hat to disgust him wasn't a bad start. Many people agreed with Yufeng's words. There were guys and girls, and it wasn't a bad idea to go out and have some fun without spending money. What disappointed Yufeng was that among the people who came to him for karaoke, there weren't any Lin Yi, Mengyao, Yushu, or Xiao Xiao. Through Songming's investigation, Yufeng already knew who Mengyao, Yushu, and Xiao Xiao were. Mengyao would actively participate in school activities, but she wasn't interested in the activities organized by her classmates. She wasn't familiar with Yufeng, either, so she wouldn't go to karaoke with them. All right, Shu, stop arguing. Mengyao looked at Xiao Xiao meaningfully. She didn't know when she became Lin Yi's small wife again, but she kept saying that it was Tang Yun's approval. This made Mengyao feel weird. Would Tang Yun let Xiao Xiao become Lin Yi's small wife? Mengyao couldn't believe it. Xiao Xiao hadn't been going to school for a while, and Mengyao had even forgotten about her. She didn't think that Xiao Xiao would have anything to do with Tang Yun, so this was very strange. Looking at Lin Yi's non-committal expression, the miss felt uncomfortable. If it weren't for Lin Yi risking his life to save her, the miss would have flipped out on the spot. But she didn't do that. She only told Shu to stop arguing. Yao Yao, this Xiao Xiao is very suspicious. I suspect that she's up to no good. We can't bring her with us. Yushu looked at Xiao Xiao with hostility. This girl was trying to steal her small wife position. How could she let that happen? Forget it. Let's go find Tang Yun first. Meng Yao felt that there was no point in fighting Xiao Xiao with Yushu right now. She knew what Xiao Xiao was trying to do once she saw Tang Yun. Oh, then I'll let you enjoy being the small wife for a while. Yushu said to Xiao Xiao, I think you're the one who's delusional. If you're the small wife, then who's the big wife? It's not Meng Yao, is it? As far as I know, she's Lin Yi's employer. You guys really are delusional. Xiao Xiao didn't back down. Yushu wanted to say something, but Meng Yao stopped her. Shoo, oh. Yushu glared at Xiao Xiao and grabbed Meng Yao's hand, walking out of the classroom with her. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and followed. He didn't know what to do with Xiao Xiao. He couldn't explain it to the miss and Shu in front of her, either. He could only tell them in detail when they got back to the villa. Who knew how many misunderstandings they'd have in the future? On Yufeng's side, he was happily chatting with the girls and boys, discussing which KTV to go to, but his eyes were on Lin Yi and the others leaving the classroom. Oof, I'll let you be happy for now. Yufeng smiled coldly in his heart as he retracted his gaze. He didn't stop his activities just because Lin Yi and Meng Yao didn't participate. Lin Yi might not be there, but Yufeng wasn't an idiot. He needed to build up his relationship with his classmates. This was the only way he could stand firm in the class and do whatever he wanted. Lin Yi, Meng Yao, Yushu, and Xiao Xiao left the classroom and came to Class 9. Chapter 998. It was a tie. Tang Yun's sis. Xiao Xiao quickly ran over and held Tang Yun's hand. Meng Yao frowned slightly as she looked at Xiao Xiao, then at Tang Yun, trying to figure out what was going on. Tang Yun, she said that she's Shield Bro's small wife, and that it's been verified by you? Meng Yao didn't want to ask, but Yushu didn't care. Tang Yun tensed up. She'd forgotten about Meng Yao and Yushu's feelings. Tang Yun wasn't stupid. A woman's intuition told her that Meng Yao and Yushu felt for Lin Yi. She was Lin Yi's girlfriend, and while Meng Yao and Yushu were helpless about it, they still accepted it as a fact. But with Xiao Xiao popping out of nowhere, there was no way they'd be happy. But in front of Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun couldn't explain it to Meng Yao and Yushu. She could only nod helplessly. Yes, she's Lin Yi's small wife. Meng Yao's face changed after hearing Tang Yun's confirmation. She felt wronged. What was the meaning of this? She'd already let go of her misattitude and started befriending Tang Yun. And now she found a small wife for Lin Yi? Even if he was looking for a small wife, shouldn't it be Shu? What was up with this Xiao Xiao? Her heart hurt, but she felt that it was because of Shu. Yes, it was because of Shu. Shu, this is their family matter. Why we have to be so nosy? Meng Yao turned around and held Shu's hand, looking at Lin Yi faintly. Let's meet at that KTV. Shu, let's go. Oh, Yushu looked at Lin. Shield Bro, you disappoint me. This small wife sucks. With that, Yushu left with Meng Yao before Xiao Xiao could say anything. Xiao Xiao wanted to say something, but she could only keep it to herself. Watching Miss and Shu leave, Lin Yi smiled bitterly inside. He was afraid that they were really angry this time. However, what could Lin Yi say? Lin Yi glanced at Tang Yun and realized that she was also looking at him with a bitter smile. Lin Yi could only give her a comforting look. Meng Yao grabbed Yushu's hand and strode down the stairs. Ow, Yao Yao, you're hurting me. Yushu cried out in pain as Meng Yao squeezed her hand. I'm sorry. Meng Yao realized that she'd used too much force. It's okay, Yao Yao sis. I'm a little sad. I'm so disappointed with Shield Bro. Yushu's heart was hurting as well. She had always thought that Shield Bro liked her, and as long as Tang Yun nodded, he would accept her and Yao Yao. But now, maybe it's not Lin Yi's fault. Can't you see that bitter smile on his face? Meng Yao was looking more closely. Maybe it's a Xiao Xiao's problem. Oh, I got it. It must be Tang Yun. She thinks that Yao Yao and I are a threat to her, so she found a small wife to fight against us. Yushu suddenly had an idea. Yao Yao sis, look at that Xiao Xiao. Her personality is pretty similar to mine. She probably found her based on me. That way, Tang Yun would be tied with us too, to 2, and our advantage would be gone. Why? Meng Yao's eyes went wide. Wasn't Shu's theory a little too shocking? In order to fight against her, Tang Yun found a small wife similar to Yushu. Meng Yao found it unbelievable. After all, this didn't seem like Tang Yun's style. Yao Yao sis, did you notice? Tang Yun seems to be getting her breasts booty. I just saw that her breasts are getting bigger. Yushu continued her analysis, but her boobs are big, but that only makes up for one of her disadvantages. She can't play 3P with Shield Bro alone, so she had no choice but to find a small wife so that they can play 3P with Shield Bro as well. Yushu's words shocked Meng Yao to the core. Meng Yao thought that Yushu's theory was a little ridiculous, but who knew if Tang Yun was thinking the same thing? She admitted that Xiao Xiao was Lin Yi's small wife. Meng Yao was a little annoyed. Even if she is, it's Tang Yun's doing. It has nothing to do with Lin Yi. Yeah, I knew that Shield Bro wouldn't abandon us. Yushu was happy again at the thought. She waved her fist. Yao Yao sis, look, you want to treat Tang Yun better, but how does she treat us? Getting a small wife to fight against us? Why don't we fight her till the end? What does it have to do with us if she finds a few wives for Lin Yi? Meng Yao said faintly. Forget it, Shu. Yushu looked at Meng Yao, wanting to say something but didn't. The two went downstairs and got into Faubert's Bentley. Meng Yao told Faubert to go to Tierney Entertainment on the business street. Lin Yi, Tang Yun, and Xiao Xiao left the school together. Xiao Xiao, you're driving your own Audi TT? Lin Yi wanted to get Xiao Xiao away from him and discuss a plan with Tang Yun. He wanted to call the miss and explain. He could tell that the miss and Shu were really angry. No, I'll go with you guys. Xiao Xiao shook her head. She didn't want to drive herself. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything. He was driving Yushu's Beetle, and Xiao Xiao sat in the back, giving the front seat to Tang Yun. Lin Yi found it funny. This Xiao Xiao had the awareness of being a small wife. Although Lin Yi agreed to Tianlong's request, Lin Yi had prepared for the worst-case scenario. He wanted Xiao Xiao to completely fall out with Tang Yun, and Tang Yun would have to endure it silently. But now, he didn't know what Tang Yun did, but Xiao Xiao accepted Tang Yun and willingly became a small wife. In the car, Tang Yun wanted to talk to Xiao Xiao about Meng Yao and Yushu, but she wasn't that close with Xiao Xiao. She didn't want to mess things up. In fact, from Tang Yun's perspective, she understood Meng Yao and Yushu very well. As far as they were concerned, even if Lin Yi were to find another girlfriend, it would be the two of them. Now that he found Xiao Xiao, how could they feel good about it? Hopefully, after Lin Yi explained things to them tonight, they would understand her and Xiao Xiao. In front of Tierney KTV, Lin Yi saw Faubert's Bentley. Chapter 999. Chapter 997. Led astray by Shu Mingyao and Yushu, who were in the Bentley, got out of the car as well when they saw Lin Yi. The miss had returned to her usual cold and arrogant self, treating Lin Yi and Tang Yun coldly, just like how she was at the beginning. Lin Yi, go get a room. Meng Yao spoke to Lin Yi as if he was just a follower. Okay. Lin Yi didn't say much, only nodding. However, when Lin Yi and the others were about to enter the KTV, a couple of taxis stopped in front of the KTV, and the people who got out of the taxis were all students from Class 5, including Xie Yufeng. Evidently, Xie Yufeng had chosen this KTV as well. He didn't mean to come to the same KTV with Lin Yi, but Tierney KTV was one of the more luxurious places in Songshan, and it was recommended by his classmates. Truly, one could wear out iron shoes in fruitless search, only to find it by chance. A faint smile appeared on Xie Yufeng's face. He had already given up on interacting with Lin Yi tonight, but the two of them came to the same KTV at the same time. Students, you guys are from Class 5 too, right? You guys look familiar. Xie Yufeng got out of the car and walked towards Lin Yi and the others. Lin Yi saw Xie Yufeng walking towards Meng Yao, but he stopped and stood a meter away from Meng Yao. This Xie Yufeng was a master at the peak of the early phase of Mystic class. Lin Yi didn't know where he came from, so he had to be on guard. If he suddenly attacked Meng Yao, Lin Yi would be able to block him in time. At this distance, Lin Yi could stop him before he attacked, or even kill him. Yes, what's the matter? Meng Yao didn't want to get involved with them, but she couldn't just ignore them when they came over to greet her. Meng Yao always reminded herself that the daughter of the school board needed to be more mindful of her image. Hee, we're also here to practice singing. Why don't we do it together? It'll be livelier this way. Yufeng glanced at Tang Yun, Xiao Xiao, and Yushu from the corner of his eyes, especially when his gaze landed on Yushu's breasts. An evil light flashed in his eyes. If he could hold it in his hands, it would definitely feel great, right? Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. Both of them were stunning beauties. Thank you, but we don't like crowds. Meng Yao shook her head, rejecting Yufeng's suggestion. We won't hold you guys up any longer. We'll be leaving first. With that, Meng Yao grabbed Yushu's hand and walked towards the KTV entrance. Only then did Lin Yi turn around, not even looking at Yufeng as he escorted Meng Yao and the others into the KTV. Fuck, Yufeng cursed in a low voice. Who the hell are you? Acting all high and mighty. I'll get you on top of me sooner or later. Make you scream. Yufeng turned around after he was done, returning to his warm smile as he faced the class. Haha, they're not giving you any face. Let's go have some fun. The class was thankful that Yufeng invited them to KTV, but out of fear of Lin Yi, no one dared to say anything bad about Lin Yi. He even dared to beat up Pin Liang and Zhou Ruoming. How could they say anything bad about him? Yufeng thought that everyone would respond to his scolding of Lin Yi and Meng Yao, but he didn't expect the silence. He was even more pissed, but he didn't show it on his face. He only whispered to Songming, "Go check their room number." Songming nodded and went to the service counter to ask for Lin Yi's room number. The staff didn't think much of it. He saw Tang Yun's uniform, and Songming's group was wearing the same uniform, so he thought that they were together. He naturally told Songming Lin Yi's room number. Xie Yufeng pretended like he didn't know anything and got a big room before going upstairs with the rest of class. Lin Yi got a middle room, and it was quite spacious for 5 people. Lin Yi didn't know how to sing, so he just sat on the sofa after entering the room. Tang Yun, on the other hand, naturally sat next to Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was the first to sit on the other side of Lin Yi, and so Lin Yi was surrounded. Yushu saw this and wasn't happy. Hey, you're taking my seat. Yushu glared at Xiao Xiao. Your seat? Where's your seat? Xiao Xiao curled her lips as she looked at Yushu mockingly. I'm usually sitting next to Shield Bro, Yushu said. You said it yourself. It's usually when I'm not here. Xiao Xiao said nonchalantly. Now that I'm here, of course I'm sitting next to Lin. Shield Bro, look, she's bullying Shu. Yushu looked at Lin Yi wronged. You don't like Shu anymore, do you? I'm not sitting, you guys sit. Lin Yi stood up helplessly. He really didn't know what to do. He couldn't explain, so he just endured it. I'm not sitting either, you can have it. Xiao Xiao giggled as she stood up. I'll sit, then I'll sit. Yushu happily sat in Xiao Xiao's seat. The next moment, Xiao Xiao felt like she'd been tricked. Lin Yi stood up, but he had to sit down eventually. Tang Yun didn't stand up, so wouldn't Lin Yi have to sit next to her later? Wouldn't that mean that Lin Yi would be sitting next to Yushu? With that thought, Xiao Xiao sat in Lin Yi's seat, sitting next to Tang Yun. Yushu was on the other side, but she didn't care. What song are you guys singing? I'll help you guys order. Lin Yi wasn't too interested in singing, but the song ordering system was simple. Lin Yi only needed one look to know how to do it. Meng Yao saw that Shu and Xiao Xiao were going head-to-head again, and she felt a little helpless. But she was curious. What was going on with this Xiao Xiao? Her instincts told her that Tang Yun wasn't the type of person Shu said she was. Did she really think that she was inferior to her and Shu, that she couldn't have a threesome with Lin Yi, so she got a mistress to make up the numbers? But if she really thought that way, wouldn't she have asked her and Shu to have a threesome? Why would she ask Xiao Xiao? Meng Yao, on the other hand, was startled by her own thought. What kind of nonsense was she thinking about? How could she have such impure thoughts? Yeah, she must have been led astray by Shu. Chapter 1000. Chapter 998. Attentive Xie Yufeng. Oh, I'll sing Su Shirhan song too, Yao Yao sis. Yushu said, are there any love songs for men and women to sing together? Lin Yi, let's sing together. Xiao Xiao said, I don't know how to sing. You sing it yourself. Lin Yi quickly stopped her, or Yushu would explode again. As expected, Yushu was very happy at Lin Yi's words. "Oh, Shield Bro doesn't want to sing with you, disappointed? What's wrong with that? He doesn't know how to sing, and he doesn't want to sing with me, and he doesn't want to sing with you." Xiao Xiao said. "Why not? We sing it every day. What's it called?" "Right, it's called Happy Nights." Yushu said. "Happy Nights? You sing in the middle of the night?" Xiao Xiao blinked. "Shield Bro, Yao Yao Sis, and I play 3P every night," Yushu said proudly. 3P? Xiao Xiao didn't believe Yushu's words, but she didn't back down. 3P, huh? We're all sick of that. We've switched to role-playing and uniform seduction. Yours outdated. Role-playing uniform seduction. Yushu's head spun. We do that a lot too. Yao Yao, and I dress up as Happy Goat, and Shield Bro dresses up as Big Big Wolf. Ha ha. Xiao Xiao started laughing. What kind of role-playing is that? That's child's play. I'm talking about me and Tang Yun Sis dressing up as air stewardesses or office workers. Don't you see Tang Yun Sis always wearing the school uniform? It's called uniform seduction. Oh. Yushu was embarrassed, but she defended herself. That's also role-playing. Haven't you heard of a song? The wolf falls in love with the sheep. Tang Yun looked at Meng Yao apologetically, shrugging helplessly. She couldn't explain it to Meng Yao, and this was the only way to express her innocence. Meng Yao paused at Tang Yun's expression. Could it be that Tang Yun didn't call Xiao Xiao here on purpose? Tang Yun smiled bitterly, and so did Lin Yi. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was a little suspicious. Just how did Xiao Xiao become Lin Yi's small wife? At this time, Su Shihan's prelude started playing from the speakers. Meng Yao saw that it was her song, so she walked over and picked up the microphone. "All right, Shu, stop arguing, I'm going to sing." Yushu nodded. Yushu shut her mouth and ignored Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, didn't know what to say. She shut her mouth and listened to Meng Yao sing. At this moment, the atmosphere in the room calmed down a little. Lin Yi let out a breath of relief, and so did Tang Yun. Xiao Xiao was there, but Meng Yao didn't have stage fright at all. The Miss was proud and confident, and she didn't sing in front of outsiders often, but it was undeniable that her voice was very good. She wasn't as good as those professionally trained singers, but the Miss had a great voice. She didn't need to mimic anyone at all. Just using her own voice to sing was already very nice. All in all, Lin Yi felt that the Miss' voice was very nice. He didn't know if it was Su Shihan's song or the Miss performance, but this was the first time Lin Yi liked this song. He decided to download it when he got back. The Miss hadn't finished yet, but halfway through, there was a knock on the door. The Miss thought that it was a waiter who came to deliver snacks and fruits, so she didn't pay much attention. She only said to the door during the accompaniment, "Come in." When they first arrived, Lin Yi ordered some snacks casually. The cost of KTV was high, but it wasn't much to Lin Yi. However, the door opened, and the person who entered wasn't a waiter, but Xie Yufeng. Xie Yufeng pushed the door open and walked in, clapping his hands. "I heard this beautiful voice at the door. It's like the sound of nature. I want to record it and use it as my phone's ringtone." Meng Yao looked at Xie Yufeng faintly, as if the person he was praising wasn't her. She only nodded slightly. "What's the matter? I invited you guys earlier, but you didn't come, so I ordered some snacks for you guys. They'll be here soon." Xie Yufeng smiled. "We'll be in the same class from now on. I don't have any other intentions. I just want to get along with everyone." "It's okay. We've already ordered snacks." Meng Yao rejected Xie Yufeng faintly. She didn't know why, but when she saw this Xie Yufeng, she felt a sense of familiarity. It made her wary. In fact, when Lin Yi saw Xie Yufeng, he felt a sense of familiarity as well. But Lin Yi's attention was drawn to his strength, so he neglected this small detail. After all, a student at the peak of the early phase of the Mystic Division. This shocked Lin Yi. Xie Yufeng didn't say anything else, but turned around and sat beside Yushu. He was prepared to make his move on Yushu first. Looking at her breasts, he couldn't help but want to push her down on his crotch. Xie Yufeng was an extremely lustful person, but he hid it better in front of his father. However, with his strength at the peak of the early phase of the Mystic Division, even if he had 10 women in one night, he wouldn't feel any discomfort. After all, The stamina of a Mystic Division Master was shockingly strong, so it wasn't a big deal to go overboard. Haha, nice to meet you, beautiful lady Xie Yufeng. Xie Yufeng extended his hand to Yushu elegantly, looking at her with a melancholic smile. Move your hand away, don't block my view of Yao Yao's singing. Yushu waved her hand impatiently, telling him not to block her. Yushu's words made Xie Yufeng's face stiffen, a hint of annoyance flashing across his eyes, but he hid it well. Haha, beautiful lady not giving me face? That's embarrassing. Xie Yufeng shrugged, mocking himself. Stop talking. I'm listening to Yao Yao's singing. Yushu glared at Xie Yufeng, unhappy. I think he's pretty handsome. Why don't you be his mistress? He seems to be interested in you. Xiao Xiao said gloatingly as she watched Yufeng trying to please Yushu. Why don't you go be his concubine? Yushu stopped listening to the song and turned her head to rebuke. Chapter 1001. A mistake. Haha. You must be joking, beauty. Why wouldn't I like you? I'm just afraid that you won't like me, so I didn't say anything. Yufeng didn't know about the conflict between Xiao Xiao and Yushu, and hearing her weird tone, he thought that she was jealous of him talking to Yushu. Yufeng, on the other hand, felt that Xiao Xiao must be interested in him. Since that was the case, he might as well hit on Xiao Xiao first. Her breasts weren't as big as Yushu's, but she was pretty. Then you're right, I don't like you. Xiao Xiao nodded after hearing Yufeng's words. Wah! Yufeng froze at Xiao Xiao's words, and his face darkened. What did this Xiao Xiao mean? She didn't like him, so what was she talking about? At the thought, Yufeng's heart was filled with a desire to conquer. He'd always been successful with girls, and in Yinjing, everyone knew that he was the young master of Haosu. There were countless girls throwing themselves at him, and even if some of them were pure and didn't take the initiative, he'd still be successful if he made the first move. And so, with Xiao Xiao and Yushu ignoring him, Yufeng felt that it was a challenge. As far as he was concerned, these two girls must have a close relationship with Lin Yi, but with his years of experience, Yushu and Xiao Xiao were still virgins. This made him want to get ahead of them. As far as he was concerned, getting on Lin Yi's girlfriend before Lin Yi would be the same as making him a cuckold. Even if Haosu couldn't do anything to Lin Yi right now, making Lin Yi a cuckold would still feel good. And so, Yufeng smiled, not minding it at all. Haha, pretty girl, you're quite funny. As Yufeng said that, someone knocked on the door of the room. Come in, Yufeng said nonchalantly, getting Yushu and Xiao Xiao's looks of disdain at him. But Yufeng didn't mind at all. In the dark room, he didn't notice Yushu and Xiao Xiao's expressions at all. He was waiting for the waiter to bring in the snacks and the things he wanted, so his whole attention was on the waiter who came in at the door. Hello, guests in the private room. These are the fruits and snacks you ordered. Please enjoy. The waiter walked in and placed the fruit platter and snacks on the coffee table. Then, he turned around and was about to leave the room. Ah, it's my treat. Come, beauties, try the fruits in this plate. Yufeng waved his hand at Xiao Xiao and Yushu. Because Tang Yin was quite far away, and Yufeng's energy was limited, he decided to make his move on Yushu and Xiao Xiao first. As for Tang Yun and Meng Yao, they'd be his sooner or later, so there was no rush. Your treat. Yushu heard Yufeng's words and looked at him with disdain. This is Shield Bro's treat, and you're using someone else's food to treat us? Wah. Yufeng paused. Shield Bro? Who is it? This is the fruit platter I ordered for you guys before I came, and, ugh. At that point, Yufeng realized that something wasn't right. Other than the fruit platter and snacks, he'd also asked for flowers. This was a great weapon for hitting on girls, but the waiter didn't bring it in with him. He was in a rush to show off and forgot about this. Now that he thought about it, he realized that something was wrong. Fortunately, there was another knock on the door from outside the private room. Yufeng let out a breath of relief, thinking that the heavens were on his side. He quickly stood up. Come in. This time, the waiter brought in what Yufeng had ordered. It was a fruit platter, snacks, and 2 bouquets of flowers. Yufeng calmed down when he saw the flowers and quickly walked over to take them. He then turned to Xiao Xiao and Yushu. My stuff's here now. Eat as much as you want. No need to be polite. But after taking the fruit platter and snacks, Yufeng realized that there was no more space on the coffee table. The snacks and fruit platters that Lin Yi had ordered were all taken up. After Yufeng came in, Lin Yi had been watching him coldly from afar. Lin Yi had always been suspicious of Yufeng. From his style and tone, he was a typical arrogant and narcissistic person. But he was a mystic early-phase peak at such a young age, and he did have a right to be arrogant. Yufeng's goal of approaching Yushu and Xiao Xiao was obvious as well. He was probably here to hit on girls. Of course, Lin Yi wouldn't stop him. He just watched from aside. He believed that as long as Yufeng didn't use force, he wouldn't be able to take advantage of them. Lin Yi even felt a little sad for Yufeng. Of all the girls he could have gone after, why did he have to go after Yushu and Xiao Xiao? How dare he touch these two girls? Did he think his life was too long? Eat slowly. There's more here. I'll put it aside for now. You can bring it back when you're done. Yufeng couldn't just keep holding the fruit platter and snacks, so he put them on the cabinet not far away. He took the 2 bouquets of flowers and walked over to Yushu and Xiao Xiao. 2 beauties, this is for you. Oh, thank you. Yushu didn't reject this time and took the flowers. Yufeng was overjoyed at the sight. It seemed that the flowers were useful. Girls all like flowers. Xiao Xiao saw Yushu take the flowers and asked, "What? You're giving up on your shield, bro, and becoming Yufeng's small wife." Small wife? Yufeng was overjoyed. It seemed like these girls weren't the conservative type. If they could be concubines, then they wouldn't mind having multiple wives and concubines. Wouldn't it be fine for him to do them at the same time? With that thought, Yufeng quickly said, "I'm actually a very fair person. I treat both the big wife and the small wife equally, and I really love the small wife. Look, hurry up and bring your first wife Yao Yao to him." Xiao Xiao said to Yushu, "Why don't you bring your Tangyan sis to be a small wife?" Yushu asked back, "You took his flowers, I didn't." Xiao Xiao said. Chapter 1002. Coincidentally enough, Xiao Xiao frowned and snatched the flowers from Yufeng's hands before running over to Lin Yi, handing it to Lin Yi. "Lin Yi, this is for you." Lin Yi could only smile bitterly at the flowers from both Xiao Xiao and Yushu. The reason why Lin Yi didn't kick Yufeng out was because Lin Yi wanted to observe him from the shadows and figure out where he came from. A mystic class master like this suddenly appeared in school, and in his class. Lin Yi wouldn't believe it if someone said that he wasn't here for Meng Yao or himself. Secondly, Lin Yi wanted to use Yufeng's disturbance to make Xiao Xiao and Yushu stop fighting for a while. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any peace for the rest of the night. But now it seemed that Lin Yi's judgment was wrong. Xiao Xiao and Yushu actually shifted Yufeng's conflict to him. Lin Yi took Yushu's flowers and Xiao Xiao's, but he didn't hold them for long. Lin Yi gave them to Meng Yao, who was still singing. "You sing really well for you." Meng Yao couldn't help but smile when she heard Lin Yi complimenting her singing. She was overjoyed and couldn't help but smile. She reached out to take the flowers from Lin Yi and held them in her arms. "Thank you." Meng Yao was so focused on singing that she didn't notice where the flowers came from. She thought that Lin Yi had gotten it for her, and her heart was sweeter than honey. It seemed like he had some taste, knowing how to please her. The flowers were from Lin Yi, and Xiao Xiao wasn't too happy about it, but she couldn't do anything about it. Yushu, on the other hand, was happy. Lin Yi giving it to Meng Yao was the same as giving it to her, wasn't it? Yufeng's face didn't look too good. His flower had been given to someone else. No matter how stupid he was, he could tell that Yushu and Xiao Xiao were fighting over Lin Yi. This Lin Yi seemed to be quite popular. So many girls seemed to be in an ambiguous relationship with him. With that thought, Yufeng's eyes flashed with contemplation. It seemed like Lin Yi was a tough opponent, but Yufeng was confident. After all, he felt that he was more handsome than Lin Yi. He was better than Lin Yi in every aspect. Before he came to school, he asked Wang Tsongming to inquire about Lin Yi. Lin Yi hadn't been in school for long, and he'd already beaten up the 2 big bullies, Zhong Pinliang and Zhou Ruoming. Was it because Lin Yi could fight that these girls liked Lin Yi so much? That was possible. Xie Yufeng himself was a practitioner, and so he worshipped strength. He had the mindset that strength was the king in his bones. As far as he was concerned, the reason why these girls liked Lin, it was because Lin, he had strength. Didn't girls this age all look up to guys who were good at fighting? What's the big deal with a few hooligans? With his strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to do so. Yufeng was eager to show off his strength in front of Xiao Xiao and Yushu. He couldn't show off his practitioner's strength, but with his normal physique, as long as it wasn't a professional practitioner or a group, he was confident that he could win. As far as he was concerned, no matter how strong those hooligans were, they were just messing around. He could take them down in a few moves. Plus, as long as Linny wasn't there, he could just use some chi secretly. Who would be able to tell? Unless there was a practitioner there and they could feel his chi, normal people wouldn't be able to tell. But Lin, he had already laid a solid foundation in school, and he'd stomped on those troublemakers until they lost their temper. They knew how strong Lin he was, and they wouldn't mess with the people around Lin that easily. If he wanted to show off his strength, he wouldn't have the chance to do so. He really hoped that some blind hooligans would come out and mess with Xiao Xiao and Yushu. That way, he could be the hero saving the damsel in distress. Didn't Lin win Tang Yun's heart because he beat up Zhou? Right now, Yufeng could only use gentle tactics. He looked at Xiao Xiao and started chatting with her. You're Xiao Xiao, right? I've heard of your name for a long time. One of the school beauties of Songshan's first. Where did you hear that? You made it up yourself, right? Xiao Xiao rolled her eyes, impatient. Why haven't you heard that I'm the last of the big four? Huh, I heard that you're one of the big four. Yufeng laughed. Do you have any hobbies? I like playing basketball, playing pool, and singing. Oh, not bad. Do you gamble or smoke? Xiao Xiao asked. No. I don't have any of those bad habits. Yufeng thought that Xiao Xiao was ready to accept him, so he quickly shook his head and denied it. All right, I'll be fine. Then do you race? Xiao Xiao asked. No, I'd never do something that dangerous. Yufeng shook his head subconsciously. Oh, sorry, we don't have anything in common. I like racing. Xiao Xiao smiled. Huh? Yufeng blinked, realizing that he'd been tricked. Xiao Xiao asked him about a bad habit, and after he denied it, she asked him about racing, which seemed like a bad habit. He must have denied it subconsciously, but Xiao Xiao said that she liked it. Thinking about how he'd been tricked by Xiao Xiao, Yufeng was furious, but he couldn't go back on his words. But I'm a collector of famous cars, and there's a lot of them in my garage, like Ferrari, Porsche, and so on. They're all normal stuff. Xiao Xiao was ready to fight Yushu for 300 rounds, but this Yufeng's sudden appearance annoyed her. She'd already made fun of him a couple of times already. Why didn't this guy know his place? Why did he keep messing with her? You're talking to me? Why don't you go bother Yushu, that big-tits girl? Yushu, I'm going to the washroom. You coming? Xiao Xiao turned to Yushu. Chapter 1003. A temporary alliance, and so, under Lin Yi, Tang Yun, and Meng Yao's shocked gazes, Xiao Xiao and Yushu left the room. Why did you call me out? Yushu asked Xiao Xiao when they reached the door. She didn't think that Xiao Xiao would be nice enough to ask her to go to the washroom. Don't you think that Xie Yufeng is annoying? Xiao Xiao asked. Very annoying. It's affecting my PK with you. Yushu nodded. I think so too, so I've decided to deal with that Xie Yufeng first, then you. Xiao Xiao said, what do you think? You want to ally with me? Yushu wasn't stupid. Just a temporary alliance. We'll continue after we deal with Xie Yufeng. Xiao Xiao nodded. All right, it's settled then. Yushu and Xiao Xiao hit it off. Do you have any ideas? Not yet, I'm thinking. Xiao Xiao shook her head. The two talked as they walked towards the washroom, but in reality, they didn't intend to go there. They stood at the door, thinking of an idea. Pretty girl, waiting for someone here? A chubby-looking drunk man had just come out of the washroom, and his eyes lit up when he saw Yushu and Xiao Xiao at the washroom door. Such a pretty girl, much better than the girls he found in the room. One look, and he could tell that she was a pure and innocent student, so he couldn't help but tease her. This man was called Lei Jinyu, the boss of Tiandi Entertainment City, Zhou Tiandi's guest. He did the empty card distribution business in the province, and he was also a big boss. He did things without any fear. If he saw a pretty girl in a nightclub or entertainment city, he would push her into the room. If she was obedient, it would be fine, but if she wasn't, he would threaten and bribe her, giving her a sum of money afterwards. And that was it. Most of the girls who frequented nightclubs and entertainment city weren't pure, and they weren't virgins, so they didn't care if they were hit, and they could still get a sum of money afterwards. They were afraid of Lei Jinyu's power, so they didn't dare to call the police. Therefore, Lei Jinyu became more and more unscrupulous. The sudden appearance of a storm made Xiao Xiao and Yushu pause. They looked at each other and understood each other's intentions. "We came out with another man. I'm sorry. We can't accompany you anymore." Xiao Xiao looked at Lei Jinyu regretfully. Yeah, we won't go with you, but our partner's really strong. You can't afford to mess with him, so we can't go with you." Yushu blinked helplessly as well. After the two of them finished speaking, they looked at each other again. This time, there was a sense of mutual appreciation. The two of them really hit it off and thought of the same thing. They all wanted to use this man to deal with Yufeng. When Lei Jinyu heard Xiao Xiao and Yushu's words, he knew that there was hope. The two girls did not directly refuse, but said that they had a male companion, and that the male companion was very powerful, so he could not let them accompany him. So, Lei Jinyu was overjoyed. He waved his hand and said nonchalantly, "Humph, in this Songshan city, who could be more powerful than me? Lei Jinyu? Others dare to snatch the girl that I like? No way, Lei bro, although we want to accompany you. Our partner is very strong." Xiao Xiao shook her head and said with a bitter face, Yeah, he's very strong. Lei bro, you look very strong, but I'm afraid you're not his match." Yushu reminded worriedly. "Fuck, go back and tell him that I, Lei Jinyu, have taken a liking to you. If he has any complaints, go to Lei bro's good station and look for me. I'll kill him." Lei Jinyu heard Xiao Xiao and Yushu praising their partner, and he was instantly enraged. "We don't dare to, Lei bro. Why don't you go back with us and talk about it?" Xiao Xiao said. "Sure, I'll go back with you guys." Lei Jinyu was obviously drunk. He didn't consider if there was any conspiracy in Xiao Xiao and Yushu's words. He waved his hand and was about to leave with them. At this time, two men came out from the washroom. One was bald, and the other had an aquiline nose. When the two came out, the bald man said to Lei Jinyu, "Lei bro, why are you here?" "Huh?" When the bald man saw Xiao Xiao and Yushu, his eyes lit up. He didn't expect Lei bro to be so powerful. He could find two beautiful girls in the washroom. If Lei bro was done with them, wouldn't it be his turn? "Oh, these two girls are willing to play with us, but they said that their partner is very strong. I'll go with them to settle it." Lei Jinyu said casually. Xie Yufeng saw Xiao Xiao and Yushu going to the washroom together. He wanted to go with them too. This was a good opportunity to interact with them alone. Who knows, he might be able to do something to please them. However, Xie Yufeng couldn't go out immediately after Xiao Xiao and Yushu left. It would seem a little too deliberate. He waited for a while and stood up. He pretended to go to the washroom and walked out of the room. However, when he reached the corridor, he saw Xiao Xiao and Yushu being surrounded by three fierce-looking men. Someone was looking for trouble? Xie Yufeng's brain short-circuited. He was so excited that he didn't know what to do. This was a great opportunity given to him by the heavens. Before this, Xie Yufeng didn't have a chance to show off his strength. He didn't expect the opportunity to come so soon. Xie Yufeng really wanted to burn incense for these three. They appeared at the perfect time. "Dearest, you guys exist to show off to me." With that thought, Xie Yufeng ran over and asked anxiously, "Xiao Xiao Shu, what's wrong? Who are they?" Xiao Xiao and Yushu wanted to lure these people into the room and beat Xie Yufeng up. They didn't expect this idiot Xie Yufeng to come out of the room on his own. He was really looking for trouble. The two looked at each other and smiled. This Xie Yufeng really came from the Suicide Squad. "Oh, our partner is looking for us." Yushu said nervously, "Sorry, Lei bro, we have to go back. Lei bro, we have to go back with him. See you next time." Xiao Xiao said to Lei Jinyu. Chapter 1004. She didn't pretend Lei Jinyu was delighted to see Yu Feng running towards him. Strong with his physique? Kid, are you there, man? Lei Jinyu thought that Feng Xiaoxiao's partner meant her boyfriend, so the moment she opened her mouth, she asked if Xie Yufeng was their man. Yufeng was overjoyed. You have good eyesight, aren't you? Just because of what you said, I'll beat you up a little less. I was planning to cripple you for life, but I'll let you stay in the hospital for half a year. Who are you? Xiao Xiao, Shu. Is he bothering you? Yufeng didn't deny it and accepted Lei Jinyu's title. Kid, this is none of your business. Our lay bro has taken a liking to your girl. You can get lost now. The bald man laughed when he saw Yufeng's reaction. He was a typical pretty boy. This type of guy was good at seducing girls, but he was nothing in a fight. He could beat 3 to 4 of them with a single punch. Xiao Xiao Shu, stay back, I'll take care of this. Yufeng was really afraid that the 3 of them would run away the moment they saw him. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to show his strength even if he chased after them. But the 3 of them seemed to be cooperating with him. Not only did they not leave, they even said some annoying things. Yufeng almost laughed out loud. The 3 of you appeared at the right time. But since you're here, cooperate with me. Kid, are you determined not to leave? Lei Jinyu was taken aback when he saw that Yufeng still dared to stay after seeing the 3 of them. Abandoning your girl and running away. That's the behavior of a coward. Yufeng smiled faintly and said, You 3, if you don't want to spend the rest of your life in a wheelchair, then get lost. Shout. Lei Jinyu was amused when he heard Yufeng's tone. Kid, are you stupid? Are you threatening me? Why don't you go and find out about my reputation in the underworld? I'm in a hurry to play with them. I don't want to talk to you. And you dare to be so cocky? All right, cut the bullshit. You 3 come at me together. Yufeng said faintly. If he didn't use his pure qi, Yufeng wouldn't be a match for these 3. After all, Yufeng didn't have a lot of battle experience. He relied on his spiritual strength. But these 3 looked like normal gangsters. Even if Yufeng used his qi, they wouldn't know what was going on. That was why Yufeng dared to say that he wanted the 3 of them to come at him together. Xiao Xiao and Yushu, on the other hand, frowned as they looked at each other in disbelief at Yufeng. Yufeng taking the initiative and calmly asking the 3 to attack together. This made Xiao Xiao and Yushu a little confused. What did Yufeng rely on? Was he really a master of fighting? If that was the case, then their plan had failed. Not only did they fail to chase Xie Yufeng away, but they also let him be in the limelight. Brother Lei, since this kid wants to die, let's get rid of him first. Baldy glanced at Lei Jinyu and said, All right, let's go together and kill him, then go to the private room and play with the girls. Lei Jinyu nodded. He didn't even put Xie Yufeng in his eyes. He walked towards Xie Yufeng and reached out his hand to pull Xie Yufeng's hair. Get lost! Xie Yufeng spat out a word, scram, and kicked Lei Jinyu's chest, sending him flying away. Of course, Yufeng only used a little bit of pure qi. He didn't want to cripple Lei Jinyu directly. That would be too weak. He wanted to torture Lei Jinyu bit by bit. Only then could he build up his heroic image in front of Yushu and Xiao Xiao. If he knocked Lei Jinyu out in one hit, it would be too boring. Yushu and Xiao Xiao didn't know any martial arts. Seeing him defeat his opponent so easily, they wouldn't think that he was strong. After all, there weren't many opportunities for him to show off his strength. So Yufeng had to seize the opportunity to show off his strength in front of Yushu and Xiao Xiao. Fuck, this kid is a martial artist. Let's go. Lei Jinyu's blood rushed to his head from the kick. His chest hurt. He got up from the ground and was furious. He pointed at Yufeng and ordered Baldy and Eagle Nose. Lin, he was in the private room. He saw that Yufeng had left the private room and Xiao Xiao and Yushu hadn't returned yet. He was worried. Lin, he didn't know Yufeng's background, so he didn't dare to let his guard down. Although it seemed like Yufeng wanted to pursue Xiao Xiao and Yushu, he wouldn't do anything to hurt them. But who knew if there would be any accidents? So Lin, he waited for Yufeng to leave the private room. He thought for a while and followed him out. He couldn't let Xiao Xiao and Yushu leave his sight for too long, especially when there was an unstable factor like Yufeng. Lin, he came out of the private room and saw Yufeng kicking Lei Jinyu away. Yushu and Xiao Xiao were standing behind him. Lin frowned at this. Could it be that Yushu and Xiao Xiao had gotten into some trouble, and this Xie Yufeng was helping them? Xiao Xiao Shu. Lin, he called out to them as he walked. Lin, Xiao Xiao called out happily. She'd only been out for a short while, and Lin, he was already out, evidently worried that something had happened to her. Xiao Xiao was very happy. Shield Bro. Yushu had the same thought as Xiao Xiao. It seemed like Shield Bro was still worried about his little wife's safety. Wah! Only Yufeng froze when he heard Lin Yi's voice. What was Lin Yi doing out here? He didn't come out earlier or later. He just had to come out when he was beating up the bad guys and building up his heroic image in front of Yushu and Xiao Xiao. Was he trying to steal his credit? At the thought of this, Xie Yufeng regretted talking to this Lei Jinyu. He didn't even manage to cripple him in one move. If he had directly knocked them down without saying anything, wouldn't this situation not have happened? No, he had to take care of these three as soon as possible. He couldn't let Lin Yi interfere. At this moment, Lei Jinyu, Baldy, and Aquiline Nose were already closing in on him. Xie Yufeng took up a stance and was about to finish off the three of them in one move, but the moment he made his move, he stopped abruptly. Chapter 1005. Xie Yufeng, who felt wronged in front of normal people. No matter how much he used his qi, they wouldn't be able to sense anything wrong. But in front of practitioners, as long as there was a fluctuation of qi, they would be able to sense it. Xie Yufeng knew that Lin Yi was also a practitioner. If he used his qi, Lin Yi would be the first to sense his strength. Xie Yufeng jumped in fright. He was lucky. If his strength was exposed on the first day of school transfer, then this trip would be a waste. What would his father think of him? If he couldn't even do such a simple thing, how would he be able to take on important tasks in the future? Thus, Xie Yufeng quickly dispersed the qi he was about to condense. But trouble came again. Without the help of qi, Xie Yufeng was no match for these three people. These three people were gangsters who often fought. Xie Yufeng could deal with one of them, but to fight three at the same time wasn't it a joke? He wasn't a physical practitioner. Spiritual practitioners relied on qi to fight. Without qi, they were no different from normal people. At most, they would be slightly stronger than normal people. Xie Yufeng was different from Lin Yi. Even if Lin Yi lost the support of qi, he had many years of experience in the battlefield. His skills were many times better than normal people. He also had countless assassination techniques, and his body was very agile. Even if it was a fight, as long as the opponent wasn't a physical practitioner, Lin Yi could easily win. But Xie Yufeng couldn't. At this moment, he was in a dilemma. Guys, let's forget about today's matter. If you're not satisfied, you can leave your contact information. We will arrange a time to fight again. Xie Yufeng's face changed. In the end, he still said something to save face. Without qi, he had no chance of winning. Fuck, are you stupid? You think we'll forget about it? What happened to your ability to kick people? Didn't you tell us to attack together? Brothers, kill him. Lei Jinyu heard Xie Yufeng's words and laughed. It seemed like this kid was scared. One should always leave a way out so that they can meet again in the future. Do you insist on fighting today? Yufeng frowned. He felt that it was embarrassing, but he had to speak softly. In front of Lin Yi, he didn't dare to use his true qi. Facing these three people, wouldn't he only be able to take a beating? Escape route? You were the one who told us to attack together. Lei Jinyu laughed even louder when he saw Yufeng's cowardly look. Kid, why don't you kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times, call me grandpa, then crawl under my crotch and I'll let this go. Ha 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 ha. Crawl on the crotch. The bald man and the hook-nosed man laughed along. Yufeng's face turned green. He hated Lin Yi to the core. If you have nothing better to do, why don't you just stay in the private room and come out to wander around? He really hoped that Lin Yi would bring Yushu and Xiao Xiao back to the room right now. But Lin Yi seemed to be watching the show, not moving at all. Lin Yi, bring Xiao Xiao and Yushu back to the room. Don't hurt them. Yufeng had no choice. He could only say this to Lin Yi, praying that Lin Yi would accept his suggestion. As long as Lin Yi left for a while, Yufeng would be able to use his true qi to cripple these three people. Lin Yi, on the other hand, looked at Yufeng with interest. He was curious. What was this Yufeng trying to do? They were already on the verge of a fight, but he suddenly started to speak softly. What was he trying to do? Plus, Lin could clearly feel that Yufeng wanted to use his true qi, but he didn't. What was he trying to hide? Oh, I'm just a bystander, Lin Yi said faintly, but he didn't have any intention of leaving. Kid, you're still talking nonsense when you're about to die. Yufeng kicked Lei Jinyu just now, and Lei Jinyu's chest was still hurting. Seeing that Yufeng was still talking nonsense, he finally lost his patience and raised his leg to kick Yufeng. Yufeng was shocked. He wanted to dodge, but he didn't expect that he would be pinned down by the baldy and the aquiline nose. He thought that even though he couldn't use true qi, he could still rely on his agility. Even if he couldn't beat these three people, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. As long as he could hold on for a while and wait for the security to come, he would be fine. But he didn't expect the baldy and aquiline nose to block him from both sides, not allowing him to move. The next moment, Yufeng screamed in pain, cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Lei Jinyu's kick landed on Yufeng's crotch. Kid, aren't you very capable? Aren't you pretending in front of me? I'll cripple you, Lei Jinyu said as he kicked Yufeng's crotch again, turning him into a shrimp. Yufeng's body was trembling in pain. He wanted to kill Lei Jinyu with a single palm, but when he thought about how Lin Yi was watching from the side, he could only endure it for the sake of House Yu. Luckily, he was a practitioner. His body was stronger than normal people. Although Lei Jinyu's kicks were painful, they didn't cause any physical damage. If not, Yufeng would have killed himself. Yufeng covered his crotch and squatted down, while Lei Jinyu, baldy, and the aquiline nose raised their fists and started punching Yufeng. Who asked you to pretend? Aren't you arrogant? How dare you be arrogant in front of me, Brother Lei? In Songshan's territory, I'll kill you. Don't you know, the boss of this KTV, Zhou Tiandi, is our Brother Lei's buddy. Killing you is a piece of cake. Yufeng, who didn't have any pure energy to protect his body, was beaten into a pig's head by the three of them. Lin Yi, on the other hand, had a playful smile on his face, but he didn't leave. He was still watching Lei Jinyu and the other two beat Yufeng up. Now, Lin Yi was completely sure that Yufeng was hiding something. He didn't want to show his strength in front of him. So the reason why Yufeng transferred schools was suspicious. Lin Yi was 80% sure that Yufeng was here for him. If not, why would he endure the beating and hide his strength in front of him? But Lin Yi didn't expose him, since he wanted to play the game of pretending to be a pig, then continue to pretend to be a pig. Lin Yi was happy to pretend that he didn't know anything. He just stood aside and watched the show. Chapter 1006. Happy Cooperation. Xiao Xiao Shu, let's go back. It's too dangerous here. There's a fight going on. Lin Yi ignored Yufeng's cries. Even if Lin Yi didn't know that he was a mystic early phase peak, Lin Yi would still be happy to see him get beaten up. He didn't know if that Lei Jinyu's kicks were strong enough. It'd be best if he turned Yufeng into a eunuch. Then he wouldn't be able to pick up girls anymore. But Lin Yi knew that this was a good idea, but it wasn't realistic, unless he did it himself. Even if Yufeng didn't use his qi, it was impossible for normal people to injure a mystic. Yeah, it's so dangerous. Should we call the police? Yushu nodded in agreement. I think we should call the ambulance. I think he'll have to go to the hospital later. Xiao Xiao said, call the police. Yushu went against Xiao Xiao instinctively. Call the ambulance. Xiao Xiao didn't back down. Call the police. Yushu said, call the ambulance. Xiao Xiao said, then we won't. Yushu said, then we won't. Xiao Xiao said, oh, he could just wait to die. Yushu said, yeah, it's good that he's dead. Xiao Xiao said, you didn't want to call the ambulance, did you? Yushu said, you didn't want to call the police, did you? Xiao Xiao said, you're so bad. Yushu said, same here. Xiao Xiao said. The two smiled at each other. It was a happy cooperation. Lin Yi's face twitched as he listened to Xiao Xiao and Yushu's conversation. This Xie Yufeng was quite unlucky to run into these two little demonesses. And so, Yufeng continued to get beaten up, and Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, and Yushu walked towards the room. Yufeng's cries were drowned out by the music in the hallway. Go faster, go faster. Yufeng saw that Lin Yi had finally left, and he let out a sigh of relief. He was hoping that Lin Yi would enter the room soon, so he could use his pure qi to tear these three into pieces. How dare you treat me like this? I'll let you have a taste of the power of a mystic class master. Yufeng gritted his teeth and thought to himself. Finally, Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, and Yushu entered the room, and Yufeng, who was being beaten up, suddenly jumped up from the floor, his body filled with an indescribable aura. This was the aura of a king. He'd turned his weak position around, becoming a man who looked down on the world. Are you done? Xie Yufeng had the protection of qi, so naturally, he could ignore the rain of punches from Lei Jinyu and the others. He looked at Lei Jinyu indifferently and asked in disdain, fuck, you're really asking for a beating. Aren't you happy that you got beaten up? Brothers, let's work harder. Since this kid is itching for a beating, let's satisfy him. Lei Jinyu saw that Yufeng didn't beg for mercy, and instead asked him if he was done. He was furious. Yufeng's lips curled into a mocking smile. He knew that these three would have to pay the price with their blood. But just when Yufeng was about to punch, the door to Lin Yi's room opened again, and Lin Yi popped his head out, as if he was talking to himself. I wonder if this Xie Yufeng is dead or not. We're classmates after all. We can't just leave him to die. It's better to come out and have a look. Don't let him die. Yufeng heard Lin Yi's words, and he didn't feel touched at all. Instead, he gritted his teeth in anger. Of all times to come out, why did you have to come out now? You're not trying to save me. You're trying to kill me. Xie Yufeng subconsciously dispersed all the qi in his body. In front of Lin Yi, he didn't dare to be careless at all. If he exposed himself, then the next step of House Yu's plan wouldn't be able to proceed. You're killing me. Yufeng was afraid that Lin Yi would see through him, and so he fell to the ground, covering his head with his hands. Lei Jinyu, Baldy, and the aquiline nose were stunned. They didn't know what Yufeng was trying to do. Just a moment ago, he suddenly became violent, and in the blink of an eye, he turned into a coward. However, Lei Jinyu and the others were only stunned for a moment, and then they raised their fists and started beating Yufeng up again. Yufeng felt a wave of sadness in his heart. Why was he so unlucky? Just when he wanted to fight back, this Lin Yi came out again. It's fine if you don't care. You can just leave quietly, but you don't care and you keep coming out. Aren't you just messing with people? HM, you can still talk. Seems like you're not dead yet. I'll come out later. Lin Yi's lips curled into a smile, and he walked back into the room. In fact, one had to admit that sometimes Lin Yi was even worse than Yushu and Xiao Xiao. This was also the reason why these two girls didn't mess with Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao tried a few times, but it all failed, and Yushu thought that Shield Bro was stronger than her. Yufeng really had the urge to bite his tongue and kill himself. You still want to come out later? What are you looking at? Can you not look at me anymore? Although Yufeng was praying, he knew that Lin Yi wouldn't do what he prayed, or else he would pray for Lin Yi to kill himself, and House Yu's revenge would be avenged. Fearing that Lin Yi would come out again, Yufeng didn't dare to use his qi anymore. He could only grit his teeth and endure the pain as he hummed. Ninja Turtle, brave beyond compare. Ninja Turtle, invincible, full of magical power. How he wished that he could become a Ninja Turtle and carry a turtle shell on his back. Fuck, this kid can still sing? Looks like we didn't hit him hard enough. Lei Jinyu couldn't hear what Yufeng was singing, but he could hear him humming, and he was furious. Brothers, keep hitting him. Beat him until he can't sing anymore. And so, the punches on Yufeng's body became even more intense. Yufeng was beaten to the point where he was hovering between life and death. Yufeng swore in his heart, "You guys are dead meat. I'm afraid that I'll expose my target today. You guys have it easy." After a while, Lei Jinyu was really tired, and he was a little surprised himself. How could this guy be so resistant? He hadn't fainted after so long. It seemed like he had a lot of resistance. Chapter 1007 Underground Arena, Part 1 Xie Yufeng crawled up from the ground. Although the gangsters didn't do much damage to him, there were still some superficial wounds. There were bruises all over his body. Linny, Lei Jinyu, if I don't kill you, I swear I'm not a human. This guy's so pitiful. I don't know how he offended the gangsters, getting beaten up like this. I wonder if he's injured. Someone sighed. Yeah, he can't die, right? Let's go to the hospital for a checkup. Don't let him get an internal injury. Another person said, What are you looking at? Xie Yufeng gritted his teeth and glared at the crowd before leaving with emph. He didn't have the face to go back to Lin Yi's room anymore, so he could only go back to his own room. Xie Yufeng's entrance attracted everyone's attention. In this room, Xie Yufeng was the main character. After all, he was the host, and his classmates treated him as the center of attention. Seeing him come back with a swollen face, they froze. Peng Hu and Ming, on the other hand, rushed over, looking at Yufeng nervously. Master Xie, what's wrong? Your face. It's nothing. The road was slippery, and I slipped. Xie Yufeng waved his hand and explained. Slippery road? Peng Hu and Ming knew how strong Xie Yufeng was. He was a mystic early-phase peak. How could he fall over just because the road was slippery? But Xie Yufeng clearly didn't want to talk about it, so they couldn't ask. Lin was just saying that, and he didn't go out after going back to the room. He was just trying to scare Yufeng, and since this guy wanted to hide his strength, then he'd just keep getting beaten up. Inside the room, Yushu and Xiao Xiao were at each other's throats again, arguing about something. Lin could only smile bitterly. These two were evenly matched, and neither wanted to lose. They wanted to see who was stronger. However, the topic of conversation between the two was all over the place. From the initial fight over Lin Yi, it ran to who was more powerful. I once made Yao Yao's pursuer, Zhong Pingliang, run a kilometer to buy me grilled squid. Yushu said, That's nothing. I've scammed people before, making them treat me to a meal worth a few $100 million. Xiao Xiao didn't back down. Ming Yao didn't disturb the two as they were happily chatting. She passed the microphone to Tang Yun when she was tired. Do you want to sing for a while? I don't want it, right? Tang Yin had never been to a place like this before, and she didn't sing at home. She did listen to some pop songs, but it was just listening. She wouldn't be able to sing well if she were to sing. Why don't you try? Otherwise, I'd be the only one singing. Ming Yao couldn't help but shake her head as she looked at Shu. She whispered to Tang Yun, This Xiao Xiao? What's going on? I'll let Linny explain it to you guys tonight. It's not good to say it here. Tang Yun was very careful, afraid that Xiao Xiao would notice something. I see. Okay. Ming Yao nodded, since Tang Yun said that there had to be something going on. Aren't you too tired? Lin, he asked as he looked at the excited Yushu and Xiao Xiao. You guys hit it off so well. Why don't you guys form a group? You might even get big prize? No, I don't like people who are like me. Yushu shook her head. One mountain can't have two tigers. You think I like you? Xiao Xiao rejected as well. Huh. Linny smiled. Then are you guys going to sing or not? If not, I'll go back to sleep. Of course we'll sing. Yushu jumped up at Lin Yi's words and looked at Xiao Xiao. Now it's Shu's turn to perform. Songshan was a city of neon lights under the night sky, and all the entertainment venues were filled with cars. People were coming and going, and the place was bustling with noise and excitement. But in this joyous and prosperous night, there was a place filled with blood and darkness. Good one. Kill him. Purple Wolf will win. Go Purple Wolf. Left hook, right hook. Kick his head. Kill Purple Wolf. Black Bear will win. This was an abandoned factory workshop, but after some remodeling, it had become an underground boxing arena. There were rows and rows of spectator seats around it, and there were many young people sitting there who were shouting wildly. In the VIP seats at the front, there were some people who looked like bosses with a calm demeanor. They had cigars in their mouths, and there was a faint smile on their faces as they looked at the bloody scene in the arena. Boss Lee, who did you bet on today? A fat man with a cigar in his mouth asked a middle-aged man wearing sunglasses beside him. Isn't it Purple Wolf? He won 3 rounds in a row already, and I'd bet $3 million on him today. The man with sunglasses called Boss Lee said with a smile. Although he said, but he didn't seem to care about 3 million yuan at all. It was as if 3 million yuan was just a joke. Hee hee, I also bet on Purple Wolf, but I didn't bet as much as you. Only 2 million. The fatty with the cigar laughed. Small bets are for fun. Even if I lose, it's just like drinking a few bottles of red wine. You're right. We enjoy this kind of excitement. This arena is very good, very exciting. Those fake fights can't compare to this. This is a real fight to the death. The sunglasses man nodded. In the middle of the arena, 2 people wearing different colored headgear were fighting in close combat. One of them was wearing a headgear with a purple wolf pattern. This person was obviously the purple wolf that these people were talking about. The other person was wearing a headgear with a black bear pattern. This person was also the black bear that these people were talking about. Black Bear's body was already covered in blood from Purple Wolf's attacks. With another heavy punch, Purple Wolf sent Black Bear flying. Black Bear landed heavily on the stage. Wah! The audience cheered. Some were excited, some were depressed. The excited ones were the ones who won the bet, and the depressed ones were the ones who lost the bet. Of course, most people didn't participate in the bet, but came here to watch the fight for excitement. Chapter 1008. Chapter 1006. Underground Arena. If one were to calculate it, just the ticket sales alone would bring in millions of yuan of profit. This was a profitable business. The ticket sales weren't the most profitable, however. The most profitable business was betting on fights. No matter who won or lost, the house would always be the winner. Jiang Wen, who was hiding in the shadows, couldn't help but smile as he looked at the excited crowd. He asked his follower, Little Scorpion, not including today, how much money have we earned since we opened? Master Wen, we've earned 7 million already. Of course, that's including the 4 million we lost yesterday and the day before. Otherwise, we'd earn even more. The shifty-eyed man called Little Scorpion said respectfully with a notebook in his hand. Yes, Professor Ian, are you sure this black bear can beat Purple Wolf today? I don't think he can do it. He's almost beaten to a pulp already, isn't he? Jiang Wen nodded, but he looked worriedly at the 40-year-old man beside him. This middle-aged man was Professor Ian, sent by the Fire Wolf Gang to help Jiang Wen. He was a biochemist, specializing in the transformation of the human body and its potential. He invented a drug that could temporarily make people forget pain, instantly activating all the potential in the human body, making them unable to feel pain, only knowing how to attack until the last bit of energy left in their body. And this black bear was the first user of this drug. The previous fights were all real fights with higher boxers. There were wins and losses, deaths and injuries, and so Jiang Wen won quite a lot of money as the banker. But since the day before yesterday, when this Purple Wolf appeared, Jiang Wen had been plotting this money-making scheme. Purple Wolf was very strong. He was a boxing master that Jiang Wen had hired from an underground arena in the south. He defeated his opponents 2 days in a row and won. So when Purple Wolf came out today, most people bet on Purple Wolf's victory. Some rich people didn't lack money, and they only came to gamble to pass the time. But they still hoped to win. Who wouldn't want to win when betting? But today, this black bear, although called Black Bear, was very skinny and weak. It didn't match the image of a black bear at all. His body was already weak, and he still wanted to fight the winner, Purple Wolf? What wishful thinking. So, after seeing Black Bear's physique, everyone bet on Purple Wolf's victory. Some of the spectators saw Purple Wolf's ferocious strength and knew that his opponent was weak, so they were eager to give it a try. The individual investors had placed a lot of bets today. Although the amount of bets placed by each individual wasn't very large, with some being 10,000 and some being 100,000, the total amount added up was quite a lot. And so Jiang Wen was very happy. If Black Bear really won, he'd be able to earn 20 million tonight. Don't worry, young Master One. Didn't you see the Black Bear getting up again and again? If he keeps getting up, sooner or later, Purple Wolf will be tortured to death. Professor Ian said softly, Look, Black Bear is getting up again. The professor's attitude towards Jangwon wasn't very good at first, but after working with him for a few days, he realized that Jangwon wasn't only ruthless, but decisive as well. He was also good at making money. Not only did he provide enough human subject for the professor to experiment on, but he also brought a lot of profit to the Firewolves. Even the leader of the Firewolves praised Jangwon's ability, saying that Jangwon was good at making money. This made the professor unable to underestimate Jangwon anymore. And so, the professor's attitude towards Jangwon became a lot more respectful. Sure enough, after the black bear was knocked down, it crawled back up from the ground. Step by step, it walked towards Purple Wolf. Although Purple Wolf could send Black Bear flying with one punch, it wasn't like he didn't get hit by Black Bear's attack. Although Black Bear's attack wasn't enough to send him flying, it was still quite powerful. Purple Wolf even wondered how Black Bear could throw such a heavy punch with such a skinny body. Although he didn't say anything, he was already suffering from serious internal injuries. Seeing Black Bear get up again with red eyes, Purple Wolf started to get annoyed. Why was Black Bear like a cockroach that couldn't be killed? Again and again, he sent him flying with heavy punches, but he got up from the ground again and again. Purple Wolf was sure that he had broken all of Black Bear's ribs. How could he still stand up in this situation? Wasn't he in pain? Seeing Black Bear rush towards him, Purple Wolf could only continue to fight. There were no rules in this underground arena, and there was no such thing as surrendering. There was only one result, and that was a fight to the death. One side had to beat the other until they couldn't move, and that was victory. Bang! Black Bear didn't fear death, and he punched Purple Wolf in the head. Purple Wolf saw stars, and his head was ringing. He had a concussion. Yes, he had a concussion a few times already. Black Bear didn't care about his heavy punches, and instead used this method to fight head-on with him. When Black Bear hit Purple Wolf's head, he was also sent flying by Purple Wolf. Once again, he fell to the ground. Purple Wolf felt like his head was going to explode, and the pressure inside increased. He knew that if he didn't go to the hospital soon, he would be finished. He was in a hurry, and he wanted to quickly finish the fight and go to the hospital for treatment. However, Black Bear miraculously got up from the ground again, and he charged again. Roar dash, Black Bear didn't fear death, and once again, he punched Purple Wolf's head. Bang! A loud sound rang out, and Purple Wolf's ears, nose, and mouth spewed out a large amount of purple blood. Then he fell to the ground. The moment Purple Wolf fell to the ground, Purple Wolf also attacked. Black Bear's body was sent flying again, and he fell to the ground. The audience was in an uproar. The undefeated and ever-victorious Purple Wolf had fallen, and he was bleeding from every orifice. Purple Wolf, stand up. Purple Wolf, stand up. Kill Black Bear. Stand up. Stand up. Motherfucker, I bet 500,000 yuan. You motherfucker, stand up. Don't play dead. However, what happened next made everyone disappointed. The one who stood up wasn't Purple Wolf, but Black Bear. Black Bear stood up, and both his hands were raised high. His eyes were still red, and even though he looked like a bloody gourd, he won. He was the last person to stand up. Chapter 1009. Chapter 1007 inches fact. He couldn't stand up anymore. He was already dead. Dejected shouts and curses filled the air. They were the ones who had placed their bets on Purple Wolf. Now that Purple Wolf was dead, their money was gone. They didn't even have a single cent left. Kaka. Jangwon looked at the victorious Black Bear and laughed. Not bad. We really won. This Black Bear is not bad. He has potential. We can use him as a trump card next time. Masterwin, this Black Bear can only be used once. The professor shook his head with a smile. Oh, why? Jangwon blinked. He's only been able to hold on until now because of the medicine. Once the medicine wears off, he can only wait for death because many of his internal organs have been destroyed. There's no way he can survive. Professor Een said. I see. What a pity. Jangwon's face showed a trace of pity. Man, what a tragedy. Masterwin, you're a man of greatness. It's just one or two people dying. What's it a pity? Don't be sad. Scorpion said carefully. He was sent by the firewolves to help Jiang Wen, but he was also the one who would take the blame. The firewolves were very kind, however, and had already arranged for Scorpion's family so that he wouldn't have to worry about them. Who said, "I'm pitiful"? Jiang Wen rolled his eyes and waved his hand. "I'm just worried about his organs. They're all destroyed. That's another million." Scorpion's face twitched. This Master One was really cruel. So it was because Black Bear's organs couldn't be sold for money. Hurry, get someone to take Purple Wolf and Black Bear down and see if there's any organs left. We'll cut them off and sell them. It'll be a great source of income. Jiang Wen waved his hand at Scorpion. Yes. Scorpion nodded and went to do it. Jiang Wen was a bold and ruthless man. He might be running an underground arena, but he'd found another way to make money, and that was by cutting off the organs of the dead fighters and selling them. In the past, Jiang Wen only sold the kidneys, but now he was cutting them all out. Corny as kidneys' hearts, as long as they could be sold, he would cut them all off and sell them. The rest of the bodies would be thrown into his crocodile pond to be digested. As a result, Jiang Wen's profits from tonight's match wasn't limited to just the sparring itself. This was also why Fire Wolf Edition valued Jiang Wen so much. Jiang Wen had gotten into trouble before, but the Firewolves weren't afraid. They had plenty of people, and it wouldn't be easy to find a scapegoat. As long as you have the ability and can make money, that's enough for you. The fighters in Jiang Wen's arena, on the other hand, were hired from the internet to train underground fighters. There were also some who were lured in by benefits, such as security guards and farmers. They were told that they could earn 100,000 yuan from a match, and no matter if they won or lost, they'd still be guaranteed 100,000 yuan. But if they won, they'd get an extra 100,000 yuan. As a result, there was an endless stream of people coming to fight. The advantage of this type of people was that their whereabouts were originally uncertain. Many of the security guards were temporary workers. They worked today and quit tomorrow, so their mobility was relatively high. It was the same for migrant workers. If one or two of them were missing, it would not attract the attention of others. It was the same for the gangsters, too. Many of them were ready to run away after committing a small crime, and some of them disappeared all of a sudden. Their companions didn't even know if they committed a crime or ran away. Of course, it didn't matter even if they knew. If they really found Jiang Wen, he could just say that they earned money from fighting and took it away to enjoy life in another city. As a result, the underground arena never lacked fighters or spectators. If it wasn't targeted by the police, this would be a profitable business. It was also a business that didn't cost anything. Of course, Jiang Wen was an expert in businesses that didn't cost anything. Master One, other than one of Purple Wolf's retina, the rest of his organs are fine. Black Bear, on the other hand, only 2 of his retina and his left kidney are fine. The rest are all ruined. Scorpion reported after a while. Black Bear's dead? Jiang Wen nodded. Not completely dead, but he's on the operating table now. Scorpion said, Not bad. There's still some use to him. These are worth a few 100,000. Jiang Wen nodded, satisfied. Tomorrow, you and Fighterly will continue to go out and find more people to fight here. I'll go play with the girls first. Yes, Master One. Scorpion nodded and sent Jiang Wen off. Jiang Wen had earned quite a bit these past few days. Lin Yi's sudden recovery pissed him off. He wasn't able to take advantage of the situation and marry Meng Yao, but he didn't dare go against Lin Yi without Fighter Li's explicit support. Fortunately, he had earned a lot of money these past few days. He booked a couple of virgins at the Starlight Hotel, going there with Tai Zhao every day to make up for the unhappiness in his heart. However, as far as Jiang Wen was concerned, these virgins were quite pure, but they were far from Meng Yao. His dream was still to push Meng Yao down. Meng Yao, you won't be able to escape from my palms. Once I have a certain position in the Firewolves, I'll have a large group of masters to order around. Lin, you would be nothing then. Jiang Wen was only a lowly representative of the Firewolves, but he had heard some news about the Firewolves from his father. The Firewolves were a super big gang with many masters, even stronger than the hidden houses. Jiang Wen even heard that the Firewolves had a super powerful force behind them. He didn't know what it was exactly, but if it was stronger than the hidden houses, then it had to be a powerful existence. Fighter Li was the master that the Firewolves gave to Jiang Wen. He had the strength of a mystic mid-phase, a very powerful master. It was rare in the common world. Only some of the noble houses could see him. However, Fighter Li didn't show up yet. After all, Fighter Li was here to hold the fort. Only when there was an opponent that couldn't be dealt with would Fighter Li be sent up. Under normal circumstances, Fighter Li was like Jiang Wen, eating, drinking, and having fun. Chapter 10:10. As a reward, but there was one thing that puzzled Jiang Wen. He noticed a weird phenomenon, and that was that whenever it was quiet at night or when he was extremely excited, he would yell at the sky for no reason. Jiang Wen didn't know what was going on, but he didn't think much of it. Yushu and Xiao Xiao were singing, but it was obvious that they were shouting at each other. Whatever song Yushu sang, Xiao Xiao would sing as well, and then another song after that, and Yushu would turn around and sing Xiao Xiao's song as well. It was like a relay race, and Meng Yao couldn't interfere at all. Finally, the two were so tired that they didn't have the energy to continue singing, and the group prepared to leave the KTV. "I'll let you go today, but we'll fight for 300 rounds another day." Xiao Xiao glared at Yushu. "You're welcome to challenge me, okay? You're too weak in front of me." Singing Shu. Yushu said. Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other, a bitter smile on their faces as they separated Yushu and Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi paid the bill at the bar on the first floor. Lin Yi could have called Zhou Qiandi, and Zhou Qiandi would have been more than happy to give Lin Yi a free bill, but it wasn't a lot of money, and Lin Yi didn't want to waste time. He paid the bill and left the KTV with Meng Yao, Yushu, Tang Yun, and Xiao Xiao. Falbert's car didn't leave. It was still parked in front of the KTV. Evidently, Falbert had lost his strength, but he was still a responsible driver. "Yao Yao, should you guys take Falbert's car home first? I'll drive Yin Yin and Xiao Xiao back." Lin Yi said to the Mississippi, "Okay." The miss nodded. She wanted Lin Yi to go home earlier because she wanted to ask Xiao Xiao what was going on, but she couldn't say it out loud. She could only purse her lips and let it go. Yushu, on the other hand, was still glaring at Xiao Xiao angrily. She hadn't decided a winner yet. Lin Yi, Tang Yun, and Feng Xiao Xiao got on the Beetle. Lin Yi started the car and asked, "Xiao Xiao, are you going back to school to get your car? Or do you want me to send you back? Can you send me back and come pick me up tomorrow?" Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi pleadingly. "I have to pick up Tang Yun tomorrow morning." "Take a taxi," Lin Yi said faintly. "Oh, can't you pick me up on the way? I am your concubine. You can't favor one and discriminate against the other." Xiao Xiao was already treating herself as Lin Yi's mistress, and now that Tang Yun had admitted it, her courage grew. If it were any other time, Tang Yun wouldn't be happy if Xiao Xiao acted like this to Lin Yi in front of Tang Yun. Even if she didn't say anything, she wouldn't feel good about it. But after knowing about Xiao Xiao's illness, her attitude changed completely. She even hoped that Xiao Xiao could live a happy life in the last few days. So no matter what Xiao Xiao did, Tang Yun had a forgiving heart. She kept telling herself that she had to accept Xiao Xiao sincerely and treat her as Lin Yi's woman, as her own sister. "Where's your house?" Lin Yi asked. "It's near school, not far." "It's really close, in front of Time Road," Xiao Xiao said. "Oh, tomorrow it is then." "No more next time," Lin Yi nodded. Time Road wasn't far, and it was on the way. "Lin Yi, you're the best. I've decided to give you a kiss as a reward." Xiao Xiao said happily after seeing Lin Yi agree. "Is this a reward, or are you trying to take advantage of Lin Yi?" Tang Yun looked at Xiao Xiao with a smile that wasn't a smile. Tang Yun sis, you're making fun of me." Xiao Xiao blushed, but after some hesitation, she said in a very low voice, "Tang Yun sis, can you really accept me and not act out of spite? We're in a dangerous situation right now. That Yushu is very cunning, and we should work together to defeat her. Otherwise, she'd want to be Lin Yi's mistress as well. If we were to fight amongst ourselves, our enemies might take advantage of it." Tang Yun had already accepted Xiao Xiao in her heart, but in order to not let Xiao Xiao see through her act, she pretended to be hesitant. "I'll try Tang Yin insists, don't worry, I'll definitely protect your interests. Xiao Xiao patted her chest. I'm a person who knows what's good for me. I'll remember who's good to me, and I'll fight Yushu to the end. Ha! Yushu just likes to mess around. There's really nothing going on between them and Lin. Tang Yin was quite close with Meng Yao and Yushu, and she didn't want Xiao Xiao to be enemies with them. That depends on their attitude. Xiao Xiao waved her fist. Lin Yi was driving, pretending not to hear anything. In truth, Yushu and Xiao Xiao's hostility was giving Lin Yi a headache. It seemed like he had to explain things to the Miss and Shu tonight. Otherwise, with Shu messing things up, there might be trouble. He sent Tang Yun to the hospital first. It was late, but there were still people going in and out. The First People's Hospital was 24 hours, and there were many patients at night. There were ambulances going in and out, so Lin Yi wasn't worried about Tang Yun's safety. Seeing Tang Yun walk into the hospital and disappear from his sight, Lin Yi started the car and prepared to send Xiao Xiao back. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was in the front passenger seat. Tang Yun had already gotten off, so there was nothing to be embarrassed about. Lin Yi wanted to say something to Xiao Xiao, but he didn't know what to say. In truth, it wasn't that Lin Yi didn't have feelings for Xiao Xiao, but he couldn't get used to the change in attitude. Before, Lin Yi was on guard when he interacted with Xiao Xiao, but now that his attitude had changed, he couldn't get used to it. Making him treat Xiao Xiao the same way he treated Tang Yin all of a sudden, Lin Yi felt a little awkward, afraid that he'd be exposed. Usually, when Lin Yi interacted with Xiao Xiao, he was usually very quiet. Lin Yi, did my dad contact you? Xiao Xiao spoke first, not knowing what topic to start with. Xiao Xiao felt like she was in a dream for the entire afternoon. She'd worked so hard for so long, and now it had come true. She really became Lin Yi's girlfriend? She was a small wife, but it was still the same, so Xiao Xiao didn't care. Chapter 1011. Chapter 1009. A little tempted. Yeah, he asked me to meet him. What did you say to your dad? Lin Yi pretended like he hadn't met Tianlong before. No, nothing. Xiao Xiao was very bold before, but after confirming her relationship with Lin Yi, she became a little more careful. Maybe he wanted to thank you for saving me in Yinjing. Oh, Lin Yi nodded and asked casually. Right. Why did you faint all of a sudden? Do you have some illness? Oh, it's nothing. Xiao Xiao shook her head. She didn't want Lin Yi to know that she had a terminal illness. If that happened, her revenge would become Lin Yi's pity. What was the point of her revenge then? Lin Yi, I won't let you go after what you did to me. I'm using you as a love experiment, making you fall in love with me and feel sad for me. Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. He continued driving. Lin Yi, there aren't many cars out here. Why don't you race? Let me enjoy it. Xiao Xiao turned to Lin Yi. Why would I race if I have nothing to do? Don't you know how dangerous it is? Lin Yi frowned. 9 out of 10 car accidents are fast. Do you want to die? Ha! Don't want to die? Xiao Xiao shook her head and sighed faintly. Lin Yi blinked, but his heart sank. Xiao Xiao's words had a hidden meaning. She didn't have much time left, but Lin Yi didn't know how to respond to that. He could only sigh unnoticeably. He felt even more pity for Xiao Xiao now. She was an optimistic girl, and from the moment he met her, Lin Yi had never seen a trace of negative emotions from her. If he hadn't experienced Xiao Xiao's body firsthand and heard his comrade Tianlong tell him about Xiao Xiao's condition, he wouldn't have believed that this pretty girl wouldn't be able to live for very long. He realized that he really liked the girl in front of him if he put aside the guilt and worry he had for Tang Yin. Lin Yi didn't want her to die, but there was nothing he could do. Even the old man couldn't do anything about it. There was nothing Lin Yi could do. Lin Yi was called a miracle doctor, but that didn't mean that he was omnipotent. He could cure some known diseases and change people's fates, but for unknown diseases, he didn't even know the cause. How was he supposed to cure them? Hey, Lin Yi, do you like me? Xiao Xiao gave up on the idea of letting Lin Yi race. She knew that Lin Yi was stubborn. He would do what he said, and he wouldn't change his mind easily. Lin Yi didn't answer. You really don't like me? Not even a little bit? Just a little bit? Xiao Xiao didn't give up. Lin, he still didn't answer. Hey, when you touched me at the auction, didn't you feel anything? Xiao Xiao was starting to panic. Yes, Lin Yi answered. Xiao Xiao's words were getting more and more out of hand. Then, are you interested in me? Xiao Xiao was happy to hear the confirmation, and she continued to press her advantage. A little bit. Lin Yi nodded. Then why did you reject me? Xiao Xiao was a little confused after hearing Lin Yi's words. No, I just started to like you a little bit today. Lin Yi said, I had some feelings when I was in Yinjing, but I wasn't sure. Lin Yi did have some feelings for Xiao Xiao before, but because he was on guard against her, Lin Yi kept that feeling in his heart, only releasing it today. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Xiao Xiao waved her hands around excitedly. Looks like hard work pays off. So you agree to let me be your small wife? Tang Yin agreed. Lin Yi asked. Yeah, of course Tang Yin sis agreed. Why else would she let me be alone with you? Xiao Xiao nodded excitedly. You didn't force her, did you? Or did you set a trap for her to accept you? Lin Yi asked. That? Of course not. Xiao Xiao, naturally, wouldn't admit it. Tang Yin sis only accepted me because I'm a good person. Lin Yi almost crashed the car into a tree. Good person? But Lin Yi knew what was going on, so he didn't expose her. What are you laughing at? Xiao Xiao saw Lin Yi's weird smile and was a little pissed. Tang Yin sis really accepted me on her own. Lin Yi shrugged. I really don't know what you're thinking. You're a pretty girl. What kind of boyfriend can't you get? You just have to be someone's small wife. So what? Xiao Xiao didn't care. If I don't do it, there'll be plenty of people fighting for it. Like that Yushu. She's always acting cute. Lin Yi, don't get seduced by her. Lin Yi shook his head. Now that Xiao Xiao and Yushu were at loggerheads, it would be quite a headache for him in the future. We're at Time Street. Where's your house? Lin Yi's car arrived at Time Street as they spoke. Turn left at the intersection up ahead, and you'll be there in about 500 meters, Xiao Xiao said as she looked at the road. 500 meters wasn't too far, and it only took a blink of an eye for Lin Yi's car to arrive at the entrance of a small district. The district was huge, but it wasn't a luxurious one, and one could see that Xiao Xiao's family wasn't too rich. Lin Yi thought about it and agreed. Xiao Xiao lost her mother when she was young, and she was raised by Tianlong alone. Tianlong's annual salary was high, but it was only around $1 million a year, and he couldn't afford a luxurious villa like that. It's here. Xiao Xiao directed Lin Yi to drive the car into the district and stopped in front of a building. I live here, Unit 3, top floor. Be careful upstairs. Text me when you get home. Lin Yi nodded. In actuality, Lin Yi was just saying it casually. The security here was quite good, and there'd be security cars passing by every once in a while. Normally, there wouldn't be any bad guys. Plus, there was an electronic door at the entrance, and the elevators inside had surveillance cameras as well. Don't you want to go up and sit for a while? Xiao Xiao suddenly didn't want to leave. She was too happy today, and she was afraid that it was all a dream, that she'd realize it wasn't real when she got upstairs. Chapter 10:12. Chapter 10:10. The feeling of love, but as Xiao Xiao got more and more into the relationship and her father's strong support, Xiao Xiao started to feel lost. She didn't know if she was doing the right thing. If Lin Yi really did fall in love with her, wouldn't it be painful? No, it's late. Go back and rest, Lin Yi said. Isn't your dad back? It's not good for me to go. He didn't go home. He's staying at a hotel. I think he has some other mission, and he's going out at night. He doesn't want to disturb my rest. Xiao Xiao shook her head. Her dad was really busy, and Xiao Xiao was used to living alone. I see. I won't go then. See you tomorrow, Lin Yi smiled. Oh, okay. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed. Can you kiss me then? Xiao Xiao suddenly raised her head and looked at Lin Yi, her bright eyes shining like stars in the night sky. It made Lin Yi's heart skip a beat. He had the urge to kiss her, but Lin Yi controlled himself well. Wasn't his development with Xiao Xiao a little too fast? Let's go upstairs and sleep. Lin Yi didn't reply to Xiao Xiao. Oh, Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed. She really wanted to know what it felt like to kiss someone. She'd never had this kind of experience before. She used to feel disgusted whenever she thought about getting close to a guy, but with Lin Yi, she was looking forward to it. I'm going, Lin Yi said to Xiao Xiao. Go upstairs. Okay. Xiao Xiao hesitated. She didn't know where the urge came from, but she stood on her tiptoes and kissed Lin Yi on the cheek. She didn't wait for Lin Yi to say anything and jumped away, giggling. She was afraid that Lin Yi would get mad, so she waved at Lin Yi. Haha, I'm going. It feels good. With that, Xiao Xiao sprinted towards the door of the building. Lin Yi smiled as he looked at Xiao Xiao running away. He touched his cheek. That moment felt pretty good, and he had the urge to run over and hug Xiao Xiao. He knew that if he wanted to do something with Xiao Xiao, this girl wouldn't reject him for sure. She was different from Tang Yun, who was reserved, while Xiao Xiao was hot and passionate. He could tell that she didn't really reject him when he touched her boobs in Yinjing. But Lin Yi didn't do that. It was just an impulse. It wasn't love from the bottom of his heart. Indeed, Lin Yi liked Xiao Xiao a little, but Lin Yi didn't want the two to do anything too soon. Seeing Xiao Xiao go up the stairs, Lin Yi went back to his car and drove away. Xiao Xiao ran into the elevator in one breath. In the elevator, she was holding her chest and panting, her face as red as a cooked lobster. She was bold, but this was the first time she kissed a boy. Even if it was the face, it was enough to make her feel shy. But that electric feeling made Xiao Xiao fascinated. No wonder so many young men and women wanted to be in a relationship. This feeling was really good. Xiao Xiao touched her burning cheek. What did it feel like to be kissed? Kissing Lin Yi already made her feel so good. If she were to be kissed by Lin Yi, would she feel blissful? In a daze, the elevator reached the top floor. Xiao Xiao got off and went to her house. Xiao Xiao's house wasn't one of those luxurious villas, but it was a big duplex. Even if it was bought a few years ago in Songshan, it would still cost a few million. But Tianlong didn't use money much, and he knew that his daughter didn't have long to live. He didn't think about saving up and would always try his best to provide his daughter with the best living environment possible. Xiao Xiao opened the door and rushed into the bathroom, washing her burning face with cold water. She needed to cool down. Phew! Xiao Xiao breathed out in relief after washing her face. Looking at her pretty face in the mirror, Xiao Xiao waved her fist and said to herself, Xiao Xiao, you're the best. You can do it, you can do it. Lin Yi's starting to like you. But after Xiao Xiao cheered herself on, she sunk into a strange feeling once more. Was this what it felt like to be in love? She seemed to really like Lin Yi? It didn't matter. She was going to die anyway. So she just wanted to experience the feeling of being in love. The more she immersed herself in it, the better it would feel. With that thought in mind, Xiao Xiao didn't plan on controlling her feelings. After leaving the bathroom, Xiao Xiao sent a text to Lin Yi, Honey, I'm home. Lin Yi was almost home when Xiao Xiao's text came. He was a little worried about why Xiao Xiao hadn't texted him for so long, but now he was relieved. Lin Yi replied to Xiao Xiao, I'm almost there too. Not long after Lin Yi's reply, his phone rang. Lin Yi thought it was Xiao Xiao, and because he was driving, he didn't look at the caller ID. He picked it up. Xiao Xiao, what's up? Xiao Xiao's such a nice name. I'm not Xiao Xiao. I mean Yun. Tang Yun's voice sounded angry, but she couldn't help but laugh when she said, Yun Yun. It's so awkward to call myself Yun Yun. I just got Xiao Xiao's text when your call came. I thought it was her. Lin Yi knew that Tang Yun wouldn't be jealous. She was an extremely kind girl, and after knowing about Xiao Xiao's tragic life, all she felt was pity and sympathy. She wouldn't have agreed to Tianlong's request otherwise. I'm just asking, are you home yet? I'm just worried. It wasn't that Tang Yun was worried about Lin Yi driving alone at this hour, but she was worried about the people who'd caused trouble for Lin Yi before. They'd all been taught a lesson by Lin Yi, but who knew if they'd given up or not? Would they wait for a chance to take revenge? I'll be home soon. Lin Yi said, Right, I didn't get the chance to ask you because Xiao Xiao was here. What did you and Xiao Xiao talk about? What kind of agreement did you make? Why does it seem like she's picking up a big bargain as a concubine? Chapter 10:13. Or do you like to be stupid? Tang Yin didn't hide anything and told Lin everything she and Xiao Xiao talked about, including the agreement they made. Lin Yi's eyes went wide as he listened to Tang Yun's explanation. He didn't expect Tang Yun to be this smart. Not only did she protect her position, but she also made Xiao Xiao feel like she got a great deal. Yin, I didn't expect you to be this smart. Lin Yi sighed. Humph. Tang Yun was a little proud. If I wasn't smart, I would have been kicked out a long time ago. Xiao Xiao's lesson last time reminded me that I'm not as stupid as I used to be. Huh. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't say much. Tang Yun maturing a little was something to be happy about. After all, people had to grow up. Right? What are you going to tell Meng Yao and Yushu tonight? Yushu seems to be a bit hostile toward Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun said helplessly. Then I'll have to tell them the truth. Lin Yi said, Yao Yao and Shu are both reasonable people. After knowing about Xiao Xiao's situation, they won't trouble her anymore. Yeah, that's true. But you still have to tell them that they shouldn't lose their hostility towards Xiao Xiao all of a sudden. This way, Xiao Xiao will definitely be suspicious. It's best for them to slowly accept Xiao Xiao. Or like me and Xiao Xiao, it's better to wait for an opportunity. Tang Yun suggested. I understand, I'll tell them. Lin Yi knew that Tang Yun was right, but with Yao Yao and Shu's intelligence, they should be able to handle things perfectly. You're driving, right? Then I won't bother you anymore. Drive safe. See you tomorrow. Tang Yun smiled. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Lin Yi nodded. He was almost at the villa area, and he hung up. It was only a few minutes away, and he parked the car in the villa's yard. Lin Yi entered the mansion, and as expected, he saw Yao Yao and Shu watching TV in the living room. Shu was in the middle of all the excitement, dancing around and not noticing Lin Yi's return. Meng Yao couldn't help but give Yushu a kick. Shu, huh? Yushu paused before realizing that Lin Yi was back. She remembered that she had something to ask Lin Yi. Shield bro, you're back? What was up with that Xiao Xiao today? Do you not like Shu anymore? Are you looking for someone similar to Shu to have a threesome with Tang Yin? Shu. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. What the hell is going on in your head? Don't always talk nonsense. If a girl speaks so crudely, how will she get married in the future? Oh, if Shield bro doesn't want me anymore, I'd rather die. Why would I get married? Yushu said sadly. All right, Shu, stop messing around. Lin Yi looked at Yushu. You knew something was wrong, didn't you? Oh, Yushu blinked. She did think that Xiao Xiao's sudden appearance was strange. Logically speaking, Lin Yi wouldn't accept a girl as a small wife for no reason, and Tang Yin wasn't the type to share Lin Yi with anyone. If Tang Yun was willing to give Lin Yi a small wife, she wouldn't have fought with them at Fatty Lai's house. Meng Yao paused as well. She also felt that something was wrong tonight, but she didn't tell Shu. She only told Shu to wait for Lin Yi to come back and ask Lin Yi what was going on. She didn't think that Shu would notice something was wrong as well. Man, this is so boring. Shield bro, why do you keep exposing me? Yushu said dejectedly. Haha, I still like you when you're dumb. Lin Yi smiled. The reason why Lin Yi said that Yushu had noticed something wrong with Xiao Xiao was because of Yushu's attitude toward Xiao Xiao. The two were bickering, but it didn't develop to the point of actually attacking her. With Yushu's personality, she wouldn't work with someone she hated to mess with someone she hated. Oh, that's good. Yushu was happy again. Shield bro, that's Xiao Xiao, what's going on? The reason why Yushu was happy was because she felt that Xiao Xiao was the not dumb version of herself, but Lin Yi said that she still liked the dumb version of her. That meant that he liked her more than Xiao Xiao. Of course she was happy. I'll tell you guys about Xiao Xiao, but you guys have to keep it a secret. Lin Yi nodded as he turned to Meng Yao and Yushu. Don't worry, my nickname is Secret Shu. I won't say anything I can't say. Yushu nodded. Meng Yao didn't say anything, but she nodded as well. Xiao Xiao doesn't have much time left. Lin Yi sighed as he sat on the sofa in front of Meng Yao and Yushu. Doesn't have much time left? Meng Yao paused, her face changing. Lin Yi, you're saying that Xiao Xiao? That's right. Xiao Xiao has a terminal illness, and even I can't do anything about it. She'll reach the end of her life in a year at most. Lin Yi sighed. Meng Yao and Yushu's eyes went wide as they looked at Lin Yi, stunned. Lin Yi continued. Xiao Xiao's father and I are really good friends, so he asked me to say that Xiao Xiao hasn't tasted love yet. He wanted me to agree to work with Xiao Xiao and pretend to be her boyfriend until the day she leaves. With that, Lin Yi told Meng Yao and Yushu everything that happened in the afternoon. And Tang Yin was very kind, so she agreed first. Did Tang Yin agree to it? Meng Yao was a little surprised. She didn't think that Tang Yin would be this kind, giving Lin Yi away. Yeah. Lin Yi nodded. Yao Yao, Xiao Xiao's so pitiful. Yushu was starting to regret going against Xiao Xiao today. She was about to die. Why did she go and fight with her? Lin Yi could stay by her side for the rest of his life. But what about Xiao Xiao? She'd have a year at most. Yeah, I really didn't think that Xiao Xiao would have a terminal family illness. Meng Yao sighed. No wonder Tang Yin accepted her. Chapter 10:14. Can't wait. Don't worry, Lin Yi, Shu, and I know what's important. Meng Yao nodded solemnly. Plus, Shu and I promised that we won't be hostile towards Xiao Xiao anymore. You can bring her to the villa as a guest. That's not necessary. Don't change your attitude towards her all of a sudden. There needs to be a process. Lin Yi shook his head. Xiao Xiao isn't stupid. If you guys suddenly change your attitude 180 degrees, do you think she wouldn't be suspicious? That's true. Meng Yao nodded. Then how should we cooperate? Meng Yao was a sensible person, and after hearing about Xiao Xiao's situation, she sympathized with her. If there was anything she could do for her, she would be more than happy to do it. But her personality made it so that even though she wanted to help, her tone was still very calm. Don't try to get close to her, just let nature take its course. Lin Yi didn't know what to do, and he could only take it one step at a time. At least if Shu and Yao Yao were hostile toward Xiao Xiao, then there wouldn't be many conflicts in the future. Oh, leave it to me. Yushu, on the other hand, patted her chest confidently. I'll keep arguing with her, and then we'll get to know each other better, and we'll become good friends. Lin Yi's eyes twitched. He was really afraid that Yushu would use too much force and break her chest, but Lin Yi couldn't help but admire Yushu's idea. It was the most feasible one. Haha, Shu, I'll be troubling you then. Lin Yi nodded. Oh, I love helping Shield Bro, but after Xiao Xiao leaves, you have to make it up to Shu. Yushu said. Lin Yi's forehead darkened. Shu seemed to be waiting for Xiao Xiao to die, but Lin Yi knew that Yushu didn't have any bad intentions. Standing up, Lin Yi said, I'll go see Faubert. You guys keep watching TV, but you could discuss the specifics with Yin. Yes. Meng Yao was interested in interacting with Tang Yun, so she nodded naturally after Lin Yi said it. Lin Yi got up and walked into Faubert's room. Faubert had been living in the villa for the past 2 days. It was also convenient for Lin Yi to heal him. When Faubert saw Lin Yi walk in, he quickly stood up. Towards Lin Yi, Faubert didn't dare to neglect. His respect for Lin Yi came from the heart. Lin Yi could be said to be his savior. If it weren't for Lin Yi, his meridians wouldn't have been repaired. It could be said that Lin Yi's kindness to Faubert could be said to be like a second parent. Faubert treated Chu Pengzhan with the respect of an old friend, but towards Meng Yao, it was more of a love from the heart. The pain of losing his wife and daughter made Faubert treat Meng Yao, who he watched grow up, like his own daughter. Lily, you're back. Although Faubert called Lin Yi Little E, it was also because of Lin Yi's strong request, but his words were filled with respect. Faubert, what do you think? Lin Yi nodded and walked into the room. As for Faubert's attitude, Lin Yi raised it twice, but Faubert was still like this. Lin Yi couldn't do anything about it. After all, Lin Yi knew that his treatment of Faubert in the Wulian world was equivalent to giving him a new lease of life. Not bad, just one more meridian. I should be able to recover by tonight. Faubert said, All right, then I'll do it today and fix your meridian. Lin Yi was also a little impatient. After all, the strength of an Earth class was not to be underestimated. If Faubert really recovered his strength, then Lin Yi would have a super helper. House you, Xiao family's threats would no longer exist. Thank you. Faubert nodded and sat on the bed, waiting for Lin Yi to come over and transfer the pure energy into his body. General Wei Wu. Lin Yi called General Wei Wu. General Wei Wu obediently ran to Faubert's room and squatted there, ready to protect Lin Yi and Faubert. These days, General Wei Wu was used to protecting Lin Yi and Faubert. Woof woof. General Wei Wu barked at Lin Yi, as if telling Lin Yi that it was ready. Lin Yi nodded and sat beside Faubert. He activated the art of Dragon Mastery and started using the energy in his body to repair Faubert's damaged meridian. After a few days of hard work, Lin Yi had repaired most of the damaged meridian in Faubert's body. Today was the last one. Lin Yi's energy quickly flowed into Faubert's body. Faubert's meridian was recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Faubert couldn't help but moan in comfort. The pure energy that Lin Yi transferred to him was quickly absorbed by him. Before this, Faubert didn't believe that Lin Yi's pure energy could really be used by him without any side effects. However, after a few days, it was proven that Lin Yi's pure energy was really effective on him. It could be said that Lin Yi was very familiar with healing people. After about 15 minutes, the last damaged meridian in Faubert's body was completely repaired by Lin Yi. Now, Faubert was a person who could practice internal martial arts. Although there wasn't a trace of pure energy in Faubert's meridian, Lin Yi could feel the thickness of Faubert's meridian. If there was enough energy transferred to Faubert's meridian, he could immediately recover to become an Earth rank expert. This was the same situation when he dropped a level. It was similar to when he was in an online game. His level was still there, but he didn't have any experience points. This way, there was an advantage. As long as there was enough energy, he could once again become an Earth rank expert without any effort. This way, he wouldn't have to break through the bottleneck every time he cultivated. Lin Yi repaired the last meridian in Faubert's body. His heart suddenly surged with a fanatical impulse. That was, he couldn't wait to restore Faubert to an Earth rank expert. Previously, when he was repairing meridian, Lin Yi was still able to restrain himself. Every day, he used a part of his energy to heal Faubert. But now that Faubert's meridian was completely repaired, Lin Yi really couldn't wait. Today is the day. Under the impulse, Lin Yi gritted his teeth. He decided that today, he would continuously transfer energy to Faubert's body. Time waited for no man. Xie Yufeng's sudden appearance today made Lin Yi feel a sense of danger. Chapter 10:15. Master Training Plan. So Lin Yi felt a sense of pressure. He wanted to have a master by his side so that he wouldn't be afraid of those hidden threats. The reason why Lin Yi chose to restore Faubert's strength today was because of Xie Yufeng's strange actions today. Since he didn't want to expose his strength in front of him, then there shouldn't be any conflict between them for a while. So, Lin Yi wanted to build Faubert before Xie Yufeng exposed his strength. After all, he was still safe during this period of time. He didn't need to worry about Xie Yufeng coming to kill him. With that thought, Lin Yi didn't stop transferring energy into Faubert's body. Instead, he waited for Faubert's meridians to recover before he continued using the art of Dragon Mastery, transferring energy into Faubert's body continuously. Faubert felt that his meridians were healed. He wanted to shout in joy and get up to move his body to feel the feeling of a spiritual master when he realized that Lin Yi's qi was still flowing into his body. Lin Yi, you! Faubert's eyes widened as he looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi only smiled and didn't answer. He was still focused on transferring energy into Faubert's body. Faubert's heart skipped a beat. He understood a little. Lin Yi actually wanted to use the pure energy in his body to forcefully forge himself into a master. Uncle Fu had experienced this kind of situation before. The true qi that his wife cultivated could not only be used for healing, but it could also be used by him to increase his strength. However, Every time his wife painstakingly cultivated a year's worth of vital energy into his body, it could only help him increase his strength by a small amount. Luckily, after his wife started training, the only thing she could do was help him train. So, Faubert didn't feel too guilty. After all, this was Hao Sun's method. But Lin, he was different. Lin, he wasn't related to him at all. Healing him and repairing his meridians was already giving him a new lease of life. It used up a lot of Lin Yi's qi. Now that Lin, he wanted to forcefully transfer his qi into his body. How could Faubert not be excited? And Faubert also realized that Lin Yi's qi could really be used by him. As Lin Yi's qi flowed into his body, Faubert could feel his strength recovering bit by bit. This was the same as when he had just started cultivating internal martial arts. This made him feel like he was cultivating all over again. Looking at Lin Yi's smile, Faubert knew that Lin Yi had made up his mind. Although Lin Yi wasn't old, it was rare for him to change his mind when he was determined to do something. Although Faubert was embarrassed to accept Lin Yi's qi, he was afraid that interrupting Lin Yi at this moment would put him in more danger. Thinking of this, Faubert felt that he couldn't disappoint Lin Yi's kindness. He quickly circulated his sex mantra and mobilized the qi that Lin Yi transferred to him. He coordinated it with Lin Yi's circulation in his body. However, as soon as Uncle Fu revolved his mental cultivation method, the speed at which his body absorbed energy suddenly sped up. Any internal martial arts purpose was to absorb the qi of heaven and earth for one's own use. Therefore, after Faubert circulated his mantra, he was also absorbing qi. However, what he was absorbing was the qi that Lin Yi transferred to him. Lin Yi suddenly felt that Faubert's absorption speed had increased. However, Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He knew that Faubert was cooperating with him. Lin Yi didn't have the slightest intention to stop. The faster Faubert absorbed, the happier Lin Yi was, although Lin Yi was struggling. After all, if the speed was fast, Lin Yi could quickly enter the space of the jade pendant to restore his strength after transforming Faubert. If possible, one night would be enough. The next morning, Lin Yi could restore his previous strength. Time passed minute by minute, second by second. Lin Yi was constantly transferring qi, and Faubert was constantly absorbing qi. Both of them were like old monks in meditation. Neither of them spoke, but the expression on their faces became more and more serious. Faubert felt that he was about to enter the golden class. This made him pleasantly surprised, and he didn't dare to believe it. One had to know that to forcibly transform a person without any strength into a golden class master, how much qi was needed. So much pure qi. All of it was painstakingly cultivated, and Lin Yi actually gave it to him for free. While Faubert was touched, he secretly swore in his heart that he must repay Lin Yi in the future. This debt of gratitude was simply too great. Lin Yi seemed to feel the growth of Faubert's strength, and a trace of a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He was about to break through. Faubert felt that he had touched the door of the golden class. This made Faubert's thoughts involuntarily go back to the time when he first broke through to the golden class. How excited was he? Boom! This time, Faubert broke through to the golden class without any pressure. His body only trembled slightly, and he smoothly went through the transition from a normal fighter to a golden class master. Faubert's face suddenly showed a happy smile. How did he become a golden class spiritual master so easily? Isn't this too fast? However, after Faubert broke through to the golden class, Lin Yi clearly felt that Faubert's body was absorbing energy at a faster speed, and he was even a little overwhelmed. After checking the remaining energy in his body, Lin Yi slightly frowned. When he repaired Faubert's meridians, he already used up about a third of his energy. Now that he helped Faubert break through to the golden class, there was not much energy left in Lin Yi's body. He was about to reach the critical point. What should he do? Should he give up? Lin Yi was not willing to give up. He wanted to finish building this Master Faubert in one go. Success or failure depended on this one move. However, without energy in his body, how could he continue? That's right. Suddenly, Lin Yi suddenly remembered the process of transferring energy to General Weiwu. After he entered the space of the Jade, as long as his body in the outside world maintained the state of energy transfer with Faubert, he could use the art of dragon mastery in the space of the Jade to not only absorb energy, but also transfer it directly to Faubert. He was so stupid. Lin Yi almost slapped his forehead and scolded himself for being stupid. Lin Yi quickly closed his eyes and entered the space of the Jade. This was because the energy in his body was almost completely depleted. After entering the space of the Jade, Lin Yi didn't care about the conversation with Jiao Lao and continued to quickly use the art of dragon mastery. As the energy in the space of the Jade flowed into Lin Yi's body, it continuously flowed into Faubert's body. Chapter 1016. Still puzzled at this moment, Lin Yi's body was like a transfer station, transferring the energy in the Jade space to Faubert's body. However, although Lin Yi absorbed the energy very quickly, the energy didn't stay in Lin Yi's body at all. Instead, it flowed into Faubert's body continuously. Faubert's body was like a bottomless pit, constantly swallowing the energy that Lin Yi sent over. Of course, Lin Yi wasn't surprised. Back then, General Weiwu already needed a lot of energy, let alone a grown man like Faubert. Although Faubert's face was filled with surprise, it didn't take long for it to turn into shock. He originally thought that after Lin Yi sent some energy to his body as a foundation, it would stop. After all, there was a saying that the master led the way. The cultivation was up to the individual. Faubert planned to rely on himself in the future. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be able to send him endless energy. However, the current situation seemed to be different from what he imagined. Because Lin Yi's energy was still being sent over, there was no sign of it stopping. This made Faubert very surprised. Could Lin Yi hold on? Because Faubert felt that he was about to touch the barrier of the early phase of the Golden Class. This speed of leveling up was probably the first in history, right? Except for General Weiwu. Thinking of General Weiwu, Faubert really admired Chu Pengzhan a little. What did Mr. Chu find such a ruthless person like Lin Yi? He was too fierce. He could create a master just by sitting at home. Although Faubert didn't know who Lin Yi was and which super force or sect he came from, he could tell that it wasn't simple from the fact that he could create a master just by sitting at home. At least, Lin Yi's background shouldn't be any weaker than his own sect, maybe even stronger. Thinking of this, Faubert's eyes became fiery. If he wanted to take revenge, it was not impossible. It was just that Lin Yi probably wouldn't intervene. When the time came, he would have to work hard on his own. Boom! Without any warning, Faubert broke through again. From the peak of the early phase of the Golden Class to the middle phase of the Golden Class. This kind of leveling speed, Faubert could not help but secretly click his tongue. It was too fast. Back then, it took him a few years to go from the early phase of the Golden Class to the middle phase of the Golden Class, but how long had it been? Only 3 hours, right? He went from a normal person to a master of the middle phase of the Golden Class. Faubert couldn't help but feel sorrowful when he thought of those people who cultivated bitterly, or even those who cultivated for their entire lives, but still couldn't improve their strength. Comparing oneself to others was really a case of death. For some people, not to mention the early phase of the Golden Class to the middle phase of the Golden Class, they had to go through a very difficult process to get from the early phase of the Golden Class to the early phase of the Golden Class. However, within a few hours, Faubert broke through without any pressure. Faubert reaching the middle phase of the Golden Class caused Lin Yi a lot of trouble. The energy Faubert needed to level up was obviously much more than General Weiwu. Therefore, Lin Yi felt like his body was like a sieve. The energy rushed through his body without stopping at all, causing Lin Yi's meridians to be filled with a large amount of energy. But in order for Lin Yi to create an Earth-class master, Lin Yi endured it. Once this thing was successful, it would be a historical breakthrough. Perhaps no one would have thought that he would create an Earth-class Master's trump card, right? Thinking about it made Lin Yi extremely excited. As time went by, the energy Faubert absorbed in his body kept increasing. Another few hours passed, and Faubert's strength rose from the middle phase of the Golden Class to the peak of the middle phase of the Golden Class. Then, it was imaginable that he would have another breakthrough. When the sky outside started to brighten, Faubert already had the strength of the late phase of the Golden Class. Just a few days ago, Faubert was depressed and thought that he was crippled. The physical strength of the late phase of the Golden Class that he painstakingly cultivated was gone just like that. But now, not only was he about to have the strength of the late phase of the Golden Class again, but his spiritual strength was even better than his physical strength. While Faubert was enjoying the feeling of leveling up, Lin Yi wasn't having it so good. After all, a large amount of energy passed through Lin Yi's body, making Lin Yi feel like he was struggling to hold on. Continue. He had to continue. Lin Yi gritted his teeth and continued to silently circulate the art of dragon mastery, so that the energy in his body continued to be transferred to Faubert's body. Finally, Faubert's strength was advancing towards the peak of the late phase of the Golden Class. Lin Yi's lips curved into a smile. He was about to complete a big leap, and this made Lin Yi inexplicably excited. Lin Yi could clearly feel the change in Faubert's strength level, so as Faubert's strength increased, Lin Yi's heart was also extremely excited. The time to witness a miracle was coming. Under the strong transfer of energy from Lin Yi, Faubert's strength finally broke through to the peak of the late phase of the Golden Class. A hint of joy appeared on Lin Yi's face. It had only been a few hours, and Faubert had already turned from a normal person to a peak of the late phase of the Golden Class. It was even faster than taking a plane. It seemed like he had to work harder. Faubert was about to become a mystic class master. The peak of the late phase of the Golden Class was only one step away from the early phase of the Mystic Class. Thinking of this, Lin Yi worked even harder to circulate the art of dragon mastery, so that the energy quickly poured into Faubert's body. But then a strange thing happened. The energy that Lin Yi sent into Faubert's body stopped abruptly, as if he was filling up the gas tank of a car, and suddenly it was full. Although Lin Yi's art of dragon mastery didn't stop, the energy could no longer pass through his body to Faubert's body, and it was absorbed by Lin Yi's own body. What was going on? Lin Yi couldn't help but frown. He could be sure that his hand was still on Faubert's body. Logically speaking, this kind of situation shouldn't happen, but it just happened. Lin Yi stopped circulating the art of dragon mastery, and the energy in the space of the jade suddenly stopped flowing into Lin Yi's body. After resting for a while, Lin Yi circulated the art of dragon mastery again, wanting to let the energy pass through his body to Faubert, but Lin Yi helplessly found that the energy was still being absorbed into his body and not transferred to Faubert. Chapter 1017. Within reason, Faubert felt the energy in his body stop flowing, but he saw that Lin Yi didn't open his eyes. He didn't know what Lin Yi was doing, and he didn't dare disturb himself. He had a lot of things he wanted to say, but he could only hold it in for now. But seeing that Lin Yi finally opened his eyes, Faubert quickly said, "Lin Yi, you've given me so much of your energy, your strength, I'm fine." Lin Yi shook his head. "I don't know what's going on, but I'm stuck at the peak late phase of the Golden Class. I can't give you any more energy." "Ha! Peak late phase of the Golden Class, that's the same as my physical strength before I got injured. I'm already very satisfied with this. It doesn't matter if I can't increase it any further. At least I can continue practicing. This is much better than what I expected." Faubert said with gratitude and sincerity, "Lin Yi, thank you so much. But you're clearly an Earth class. I want you to become an Earth class, peak late phase of the Golden Class. That's not the end." Lin Yi waved his hand and smiled at Faubert's gratitude, but he was still a little confused. Faubert almost froze after hearing Lin Yi's words. Wasn't Lin a little too daring? Earth class. Lin, he wanted to restore himself to an Earth class. This was something Faubert didn't even dare to think about. Lin, he was actually this crazy. What's wrong? Faubert's scream pulled Lin E back to reality. It's nothing. Faubert shook his head. Lin E, you're really daring, aren't you? An Earth class. How can you create one so easily? You gave me all your pure chi. What are you going to do? Even if you give them all to me, you're only a mystic mid-phase. How can you create an Earth class? My strength. Lin E smiled bitterly. His situation was rather special. It was really difficult to explain it to Faubert. The energy in his body was not his own, but from the space of the jade pendant. The energy there was endless. Not to mention one Earth-ranked expert. Even 10 Earth-ranked experts would be enough. But Lin, he couldn't figure out why he was stuck at the peak of the late phase of the golden class when he was transferring energy to Faubert. It wasn't easy for me to become a peak late phase golden class master. I'm already very satisfied. When Faubert saw that Lin, he had gone through so much trouble, he couldn't help but feel even more grateful. After all, I used to specialize in internal martial arts. I can continue to cultivate on my own. I was able to break through to Earth class before, so it's not impossible now. Lin E sighed. Faubert was right, but Lin E couldn't wait to have an Earth class as his bodyguard. Faubert's stagnation made Lin E feel a little dissatisfied. After all, the strength that was within his reach was stagnant for no reason. How could Lin E not be disappointed? Especially when all the conditions were in place. Lin E had the energy he wanted, and it was omnipotent. He could continuously transfer it to Faubert. Why was it stuck? This was a question that Lin E couldn't answer no matter how hard he thought about it. Faubert, how did you feel when the chi stopped? Lin E hesitated and asked. Faubert sighed and raised his head to speak to Lin E. I didn't feel anything special. I just felt that the chi from your side suddenly stopped. That. Lin E smiled bitterly. What Faubert said was basically the same as not saying anything. Lin E still couldn't figure out what the problem was. Don't worry about me, your own strength. Faubert looked at Lin E worriedly. You seem to have dropped a level. I'm fine. Could it be? Lin E was suddenly startled. Was it because he didn't have any energy in his body? Just relying on the energy from the jade wasn't enough for Faubert to break through? Did he need the energy in his body to assist him? Although this guess was a bit far-fetched, Lin E could only think of this possibility, because other than this, he couldn't think of any other problems. It was as if everything was ready and only the east wind was missing. This made Lin E take action immediately. Faubert, I'm going to rest for a while. I need to recover my strength. You should adjust yourself first. Lin E didn't say much. He needed to recover his strength as soon as possible. Only then would he know if it was because he didn't have any energy in his body that caused Faubert to be unable to break through. Okay, Lily E, go get some rest. Uncle Fu nodded and said quickly. Lin E didn't say much. He turned around and left Faubert's room, walking quickly to his own room. Miss and Shu had already gone to bed. Every night, Lin E went to heal Faubert, so they weren't surprised. After Lin E returned to his room, he quickly entered the jade space and used all the time he had to recover the lost energy in his body. It was already morning outside. Lin E had to make use of every minute and second to train. In the blink of an eye, the sun was high in the sky. It was already noon. Faubert sent Meng Yao and Yushu to school. Although they were surprised that Lin E didn't wake up, Faubert told them that Lin E had used up a lot of energy to heal him, so he needed a rest. So Meng Yao and Yushu didn't ask any more questions after hearing it. After Faubert sent them to school, he rushed home. He was worried about leaving Lin E alone at home. Although General Wei Wu was guarding, Faubert had to be by his side to be at ease. The door to Lin Yi's room opened, and Lin E walked out of the room. On the sofa, Faubert, who was waiting anxiously, heard the sound and quickly stood up. He looked at Lin E and asked quickly, how are you? I'm fine. My strength has recovered. Lin E couldn't help but feel a little regretful. After recovering his strength this time, he was still in the middle phase of mystic division. It seemed that not every loss of energy could bring about an increase in strength. The reason why his strength had increased a few times before was because he had been cultivating for a period of time. The energy in his body had almost accumulated, and he had already reached the barrier to the next level. Therefore, after he lost the energy, he once again absorbed the energy in one go and broke through the barrier, causing an instant breakthrough. Chapter 10:18. A helpless result, but even so, Lin Yi was still a little disappointed. Before, Lin Yi even wanted to transfer the energy out and cultivate it back so that he could level up quickly. But now, it seemed like that idea was really stupid. Breaking and building for Lin Yi was indeed a support for leveling up, but it was only a support. If he didn't reach the next level, he wouldn't be able to level up even if he used the energy to recover 100 times. This kind of opportunism was not a good idea. Thinking about it, Lin Yi found it laughable. This idea was too stupid. If it really worked, then wouldn't he be able to level up to Sky Class in no time? Even Sky Class wouldn't be that easy to reach. Recovered. Uncle Fu sucked in a breath of cold air. Falbert knew exactly how much pure chi Lin Yi transferred him. Not only did it repair his meridians, but it also turned him from a normal person to a peak late phase golden class master. How much energy did that take? Even if Lin Yi didn't drop to mystic class, he would still be extremely weak. But Lin Yi recovered so quickly. But thinking about how shocking Lin Yi was before, Falbert could only smile bitterly. Lin Yi wasn't someone that could be judged by common sense. Falbert, now that my strength has recovered, let's do another experiment and see if it can help you break through again. Lin Yi said, Experiment again? You just recovered your strength. Is that okay? Falbert looked at Lin Yi in surprise. He didn't think that he'd just recovered his strength, and now he was going to help him recover. We have to try it. Lin Yi nodded firmly. He didn't have the habit of giving up halfway, so once he decided on something, he had to do it. Oh, okay then. Falbert saw how determined Lin Yi was and nodded. It seems like I have no choice but to agree. Then I'll have to trouble you. Lin Yi shook his head and smiled. What's there to trouble? I just want to have an Earth class by my side. That way, House Yu and Xiao family won't be a threat anymore. Huh. Falbert heard Lin Yi's words and couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, if I was at my peak, what would House Yu and Xiao family amount to? They're just a common world noble house. They're nothing now. I'm just worried about the hidden house behind House Yu, Lin Yi said. Hidden house, yes. Although Uncle Fu didn't say anything, his words still carried a hint of pride. When Uncle Fu was young, he must have been someone who could stand shoulder to shoulder with a hidden house, right? Lin Yi put his hand on Uncle Fu's shoulder again and said in a low voice, Uncle Fu, it's about to start. Please get ready. Falbert, it's about to begin. Please get ready. Falbert's smile disappeared and was replaced with a serious expression. He didn't want Lin Yi to waste more chi for him, but he was looking forward to breaking through again. Lin Yi activated the art of dragon mastery, preparing to transfer the energy in his body to Falbert's body. However, something strange happened again. The chi circulated in Lin Yi's body, but it didn't go to Falbert's body at all. Falbert, have you started your own chant? Lin Yi was startled and asked. Yes, I'm doing it now. Falbert nodded. It hasn't started yet. Let me try again. Lin Yi frowned and continued to activate the art of dragon mastery. However, the situation was still the same. His chi couldn't be transferred to Falbert through his hands. It was as if Falbert didn't need his chi at all and couldn't get it from his body. This was exactly the same situation as yesterday. Lin Yi's chi couldn't be used by Falbert. Half an hour passed. Although Lin Yi's chi hadn't been consumed at all, he was so tired that his face was flushed and he was sweating profusely. Falbert wasn't relaxed either. Because of his cultivation and anxiety, he was also sweating profusely. Sigh. Lin Yi let out a long breath unwillingly, but at this moment, he had to give up. He had no way to transfer chi to Falbert's body. If you can't do it, just give up. I can cultivate by myself. It's not a problem. Falbert saw how tired Lin Yi was and quickly said, but Lin Yi wasn't willing. He really wasn't willing. Is it because Falbert's cultivation technique is different from mine? But even if it's different, isn't my cultivation technique omnipotent? Why does it suddenly not work? Lin Yi stood up and wanted to move his numb body. He accidentally saw General Wei Wu. Lin Yi's expression changed slightly, and he called General Wei Wu. General Wei Wu, come here. Woof woof. Ever since General Wei Wu was made into a master by Lin Yi, it was extremely close to Lin Yi. When Lin Yi called for it, it ran over happily and jumped into Lin Yi's arms. Lin Yi thought that if Falbert's cultivation technique was different from his, then he and General Wei Wu would be considered as the dog of the same master. So Lin Yi wanted to try and see if he could increase General Wei Wu's strength. Lin Yi hugged General Wei Wu and activated the art of dragon mastery. However, what disappointed Lin was that only a small amount of energy entered General Wei Wu's body. What happened next was exactly the same as Falbert's situation. The energy transfer stopped abruptly. Lin Yi couldn't transfer any more energy into General Wei Wu's body. General Wei Wu was a dog with the strength of the peak of the late phase of the golden class. The little bit of energy that was transferred was probably only enough to make up for General Wei Wu's energy consumption. When General Wei Wu fought against Ubaid, it probably used up some of its energy. However, General Wei Wu didn't know how to cultivate and recover on its own, so it used up all its energy. It could only rely on Lin Yi to replenish its energy. However, after replenishing its energy, it was impossible to transfer more energy into General Wei Wu. Lin Yi couldn't help but fall into deep thought again. It was the same for General Wei Wu. It couldn't break through anymore. What was the reason? Lin Yi, the strength of the peak of the late phase of the golden class is not bad. Seeing the disappointment on Lin Yi's face, Falbert quickly comforted him. I know. Lin Yi sighed and said, Falbert, go do what you need to do. I'm going to school now. Since it had come to this, Lin Yi could only give up. It seemed like he was too naive. He thought that his energy was omnipotent and he could mass-produce masters. Chapter 1019. Jiao Lao's explanation, although being at the peak of the late phase of the golden class was already a very powerful existence in the mortal world, it was almost like a phoenix feather. But it was useless to Lin Yi now. Lin Yi's enemies were all from the noble houses and not the mortal world. They were all mystic-class masters. Falbert and General Wei Wu couldn't help him either. Whatever, it seemed like trickery wasn't a good idea. He still had to rely on himself. Falbert saw that Lin Yi was shaking his head and sighing. He knew that he must be very disappointed, so he didn't say much and just sighed. Xiao Yi, I'll go to Mr. Chu's company. You drive to school yourself? And I'll go myself. Lin Yi said, I'll go take a shower first. Falbert, you can go first. Okay. Falbert saw that Lin Yi had recovered his strength, so he didn't worry anymore and left the mansion. Lin Yi returned to his room and asked Jiao Lao in the Jade Space eagerly. Jiao Lao, isn't my energy omnipotent? Why can't Falbert become an Earth-class master? Why can't I increase General Wei Wu's strength? Lin Yi was in a rush to recover his strength, so he didn't have time to talk to Jiao Lao. Now that he failed, he wanted to ask Jiao Lao the reason. I'm not sure either. Jiao Lao's voice rang in Lin Yi's ears. I see. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Even Jiao Lao didn't know the reason. I haven't finished. Jiao Lao was obviously unhappy with Lin Yi's interruption, but I have some guesses. Jiao Lao, please speak. Lin Yi quickly asked. Although I'm not sure about your situation, I've seen something similar before. Elder Jiao said slowly. In some martial arts sects, there are some secret techniques that can be used to pass on their skills. It can also be called inheritance or empowerment. Oh, inheritance? Empowerment? Lin Yi blinked. That's right. It's when an elderly person passes on his life's cultivation to his disciple through a secret technique, allowing his disciple's strength to increase rapidly. Xiao Yazi said, however, after receiving the inheritance, the disciple will always be one level lower than the master. Only by diligently cultivating in the future will the disciple be able to reach the master's height. Oh, one level lower. Lenny nodded thoughtfully. Yes, if all strengths can be passed on, then their sects will be infinitely strong, and there will be countless masters. Then would other sects still need to survive? Jiao Yazi said. But even so, these sects are still very big. Jiao Lao, you mean that this is also a type of inheritance? Lenny nodded and asked. Should be about the same. Jiao Yazi said. It's just that after you pass on the inheritance, you can quickly recover your strength in the space of a jade, but others can't. That is indeed the case. Lin Yi's golden finger was indeed a bit overpowered. So, you are now a mystic class master, and according to the theory of inheritance, you can only pass on a master one level lower than you. The peak of the late phase of the golden class is already the limit. Jiao Yazi said, Sai, it would have been better if I talked to you earlier, then I wouldn't have to waste my energy to experiment. Lenny listened to Jiao Yazi's guess and knew that it wasn't far from the truth. How do you know it won't work if you don't experiment? I saw that your experiment failed, so I came to this conclusion. Jiao Yazi laughed. Otherwise, I would have thought that you could make an Earth-class master. Yes, but if only Faubert could enter the space of the jade. Lin Yi sighed to himself. But as soon as this thought came out, Lin Yi quickly rejected it. Not to mention that he was the only one who could enter the space of a jade. Even if Faubert could enter, Lin Yi wouldn't let him. After all, this was Lin Yi's biggest trump card. Although Lin Yi felt that Faubert was trustworthy, this kind of secret should be kept to himself. One more person meant one more danger. During the experiment, Lin Yi was sweating profusely. Now that he communicated with Jiao Lao, Lin Yi completely gave up on the idea of making an Earth-class master because it was unrealistic unless he had the strength of a Heaven-class master. But if he had the strength of a Heaven-class master, then what was the use of making an Earth-class master in batches? Lin Yi took off his clothes, turned on his phone, and went to the bathroom to take a shower. Lin Yi was afraid of being disturbed, so he turned off his phone. He didn't know if anyone contacted him. Donghai, Dr. Kang's house. In front of Dr. Kang's villa stood the two brothers, Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben. They were holding expensive gifts in their hands. They were here to visit Dr. Kang. After receiving the report, Dr. Kang wasn't in a hurry to let the brothers in. Instead, he called Kang Guifeng, Kang Tsuepu, Kang Xiaolong, and Kang Mingming together for a family meeting. The Xiao family is most likely here for Xiaolong's marriage. Guifeng, what do you think? Dr. Kang looked at his eldest son and asked faintly. Father, from what I see, the Xiao family is like a stray dog. Uncle Pai is in a vegetative state, and the Xiao family owes Lin Yi a huge debt. The Xiao family is about to be destroyed, and we should stay away from them. Kang Guifeng voiced his opinion. As far as he was concerned, the Xiao family had lost their value. Dr. Kang nodded. In fact, this was the reason why he didn't let the Xiao family brothers enter the house. Dr. Kang had seen the Xiao family's recent misfortune. The Xiao family was done for. They didn't even look like a noble house anymore. They couldn't even compare to the rich families of other places. To put it nicely, the Xiao family was still a noble house, but anyone could see that the Xiao family would be removed from a noble house meeting soon. A family that couldn't even compare to a normal noble house, let alone a noble house. Guifeng is right. The Xiao family situation is tragic. Miracle Dr. Kang said. We wanted to use House Xiao to enter the ranks of a noble house, but they can't even protect themselves right now. Not only can they not provide us with any benefits, but if we were to marry them now, their debts and the mess they've left behind will fall on us. Suepu, what do you think? Miracle Dr. Kang shifted his gaze to his second son. Miracle Dr. Kang fell into deep thought after hearing Zhao Ming's words. Zhao Long, on the other hand, laughed heartily as he looked at Zhao Ming. "Lil bro, you like Wang Xinyan? Pretty girls are everywhere. No matter what, she's still your sister-in-law. It's not good for you to think like that." Kong Ming did have his own selfish motives, so he blushed when he was exposed. He argued, "I'm doing this for the good of House Kong. Let's do as Zhao Long says." Dr. Kong didn't say anything more about Kong Ming's opinion. Zhao Long is right. People who do big things shouldn't care so much about women. Yes, Grandpa, Kong Ming wasn't convinced. In fact, he really felt that way. As for getting Wang Xinyan, he had his own selfish motives, but what if the Shao family wasn't stripped of their noble house title? House Yu had been at a disadvantage recently as well. What if House Yu decided to lay low during the noble house meeting and let the Shao family go? Or maybe they had the same thoughts as the enemies of the Shao family. The Shao family was still useful to them, but Kong Ming knew that nothing he said would change anything. He could only let his grandpa think that he was playing with Wang Xinyan. Of course, that was exactly what he was thinking. Since House Kong had decided on how to deal with the Shao family, there was no need to hide anything. Kong Guifeng walked out of House Kang's villa and welcomed the Shao family brothers. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben had been waiting in front of House Kang's villa for a long time. They'd already sent someone to notify them, but after waiting for half an hour, no one from House Kong came out. "Brother, do you think House Kong won't want to see us? Damn it, what a snob. When our Shao family was powerful, they tried so hard to get close to us, but now that something has happened to us, they treat us with this attitude." Xiao Ji was a hot-tempered man, and when he got impatient, he yelled, "How long has it been? Half an hour, right? Still no one? What kind of bullshit is House Kong playing?" Xiao Ben sighed as he looked at his raging brother. "Brother, calm down. Our Shao family isn't in trouble right now, is it? Uncle Pai's in a vegetative state, and our Shao family's only hope is gone. We owe Lenny a huge debt, and we're in a lot of trouble right now. It's normal that House Kong doesn't want to see us." "Normal? I think it's just a shameless snob," Xiao Ji humphed. "What the hell are you talking about? Brother, someone's here. Stop arguing." Xiao Ben's eyes were sharp, and he saw the door move a little. He quickly stopped Xiao Ji from cursing anymore, in case he offended someone. Xiao Ji quickly shut his mouth when he heard that someone was here. He was just cursing a little, and he didn't dare curse anymore if someone from House Kong really came out. After all, they were here to beg for help, not the other way around. But what the Shao family brothers didn't expect was that the person who came out was Dr. Kang's eldest son, Kong Guifeng, Xiaolong's father by marriage. Xiao Ben heaved a sigh of relief. There was still hope if someone of such importance was sent to greet the two brothers. With that thought, he quickly went over with a smile. "Kong bro, why did you come out to greet us personally?" "I'm sorry." Xiao Ji paused as well. He didn't think that Kong Guifeng would come out to greet them personally, and his anger lessened a lot. He quickly went over as well. "Kong bro." Chapter 1021. A bad memory. Kong Guifeng's attitude took Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben by surprise. They were considered in-laws with Kong Guifeng, and even if they weren't married yet, Kong Guifeng shouldn't be this cold, should he? It was as if he didn't know them at all. "Brother Kong, what do you mean? Shao family and House Kong are in-laws. Isn't it inappropriate for them to visit each other?" Xiao Ben pretended to be confused. "In-laws? Since when did our families become in-laws?" Kong Guifeng blinked. "I don't think so, Xiao Ben." "Xiao Ben, did you remember wrongly?" Xiao Ben was taken aback by Kong Guifeng's words as well. He didn't think that Kong Guifeng would say something like that. Wasn't he just denying it? Xiao Ben's face darkened. "Kong bro, didn't your son Zhao Long and my niece Wang Xinyan already set an engagement?" "Set an engagement? Look at my memory. Are you for real?" Guifeng, on the other hand, didn't know what was going on. He slapped his head. "I really can't remember. Can you remind me? When was the engagement ceremony? In which hotel was it held? Who attended the engagement banquet?" "What?" Xiao Ben and Xiao Ji froze. This engagement was clearly a verbal agreement. How could there be an engagement ceremony and an engagement banquet? They hadn't even started yet. So where was the hotel or the witnesses? Xiao Ben and Xiao Ji finally understood that Kong Guifeng was doing this on purpose. He wanted to cancel the engagement. Their Xiao family was in dire straits, and Kong Guifeng probably didn't want to get married to the Xiao family anymore. That was why he was acting dumb. Kong bro, isn't this our verbal agreement? Xiao Ben said, suppressing his anger. He knew that he couldn't lose his temper at this time. Once he lost his temper, he wouldn't have a chance. That would be falling into the Kong family's trap. They would use his anger as an excuse to cut ties with the Kong family. Verbal agreement? Kong Guifeng frowned. I don't remember anything. You? Xiao Ben was pissed, and Xiao Ji was on the verge of going berserk. Hey, I'm sorry. Look at my memory. I've been forgetful lately. I can't remember anything that happened before. Many scammers have come to me recently, saying that I agreed to marry them, but they can't prove it. Kong Guifeng shook his head, troubled. How about this, Xiao Ben? Your Xiao family is an aristocratic family. I believe that you aren't scammers, but there's no proof. Show me some evidence to prove that Xiaolong and your Xiao family have a marriage. I'll definitely approve of it. After all, Xiao family is an aristocratic family. It's an honor for us to marry you. You motherfucker. Xiao Ji was about to scold him, but Xiao Ben glared at him. If that's the case, why do we need evidence? Why don't we make the decision now and rearrange the marriage? Our Xiao family also thinks that your Kong family is a good choice. Xiao Ben was a smart man, so he followed up on Kong Guifeng's topic. Kong Guifeng was stunned. He didn't expect Xiao Ben to catch on to his weakness. He couldn't help but be annoyed at his own carelessness. Xiao Ji was also looking at his little brother in admiration. Amazing, truly amazing. Luckily, I didn't scold him, or else this matter would have been ruined and irreversible. Xiao Ben, you're right. However, I still can't agree to it. Kong Guifeng shook his head and rejected again. Why is that? Why? Brother Kang's words just now were just flattery? Xiao Ben took the opportunity to ask. That's not it. It's just that our Xiaolong is indeed engaged to another family, but I can't remember who it is at the moment. So, before everyone finds the evidence, I can't just casually arrange another engagement for Xiaolong for the time being. What if someone really has evidence and says that our Kong family broke off the marriage? Kong Guifeng said, so, Brother Xiao Ben, you better go back and find evidence. Sigh, this memory of mine. I'm getting old, and my brain isn't working well anymore. After that, Kong Guifeng turned around and walked back to the villa. As he walked, he waved at the Xiao family brothers. I still have something to do, so I won't be seeing you off. Xiao Ben's face was gloomy. The situation was clear. The Kong family broke off the marriage. They abandoned the Xiao family. However, one couldn't blame the Kong family for being snobbish. It couldn't be helped. After all, the Xiao family was in dire straits. It was normal for the Kong family to break off the marriage. Which great family would want to find a helper for themselves through marriage, not a burden? Phew! Xiao Ben let out a long sigh and said, Brother, let's go back. It's over. Motherfucker, are you blind? Well, the Xiao family makes a comeback. Even if your Kong family licks my toes, I won't abandon you. Xiao Ji scolded loudly. Dr. Kong, you old bastard. You go back on your words. You will die a horrible death. Motherfucker. However, the Kong family's door was closed, and they didn't pay attention to them. Obviously, after Kong Guifeng went back, he didn't plan to come out again. Let's go. Xiao Ben turned around helplessly and walked to the car. Kong family, just you wait. Sooner or later, you will regret it. After Xiao Ji finished scolding, he also vented his anger and left the Kong family's villa with Xiao Ben in the car. At the gate of the Kong family's villa, Kong Guifeng sneered as he watched the two Xiao family brothers leave. He sneered, The Xiao family? You have become a street rat. Do you still expect to make a comeback? In your mother's daydream. After Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben got into the car, Xiao Ji didn't stop cursing. All kinds of vulgar words and dialects came out of his mouth. In any case, he described the Kong family viciously and cursed all 18 generations of the Kong family's ancestors. All right, brother, stop scolding them. This is the fate of the Xiao family. Xiao Ben sighed and said, Now, we should think about the future of the Xiao family. That's true. Xiao Ji nodded. Although he was rude, he knew that it was useless to be angry now. Even if he scolded the Kong family, it wouldn't change the current situation of his Xiao family. Have you found any information on Uncle Pai's background? Xiao Ben asked. I've already asked Xiao Wangba and Xiao Wangdao to look in our family's diary. But it's been too long, and we don't have a target. We don't know when we'll find it, Xiao Ji said. If only Uncle Pai could wake up and talk, Xiao Ben said. Chapter 1022. Xiao Xiao's rage. He took a nice hot shower, washing away the sweat on his body. He put on his clothes and was about to leave when he realized that there were 10 missed calls and 20 messages. The text messages could be sent at different times and received as soon as the phone was turned on, but the phone call must have just arrived. He checked the missed calls. There was only one from Tang Yun, and the rest were all from Xiao Xiao. He paused, but he still checked the messages first. He was speechless. They were all from Xiao Xiao. Darling, I miss you. This message came in the middle of the night. I got up early this morning. Come and pick me up early. This was sent in the morning. I'm done packing, going downstairs. This was from morning as well. Lin, why didn't you reply? This was from morning as well. Linny, are you coming to pick me up or not? Why haven't I seen you? I'm going to be late. This was from morning as well. Wah, did you forget about me? This was from morning as well. Your phone's turned off. You really aren't coming to pick me up. This was from morning as well. Linny, you bastard. You should at least tell me if you don't want me anymore. I woke up in the middle of the night to get dressed. This was from morning as well. I'll take a taxi to school myself. Can't wait. This was from morning as well. Why didn't you come to school today? Where are you? What's wrong? This was from morning as well. Why is your phone still turned off? What's wrong? This was from morning as well. He smiled bitterly as he looked at Xiao Xiao's long list of messages, slapping his forehead helplessly. Only then did she remember that she'd promised Xiao Xiao yesterday that she'd take her to school this morning, but because of Uncle Fu, she didn't get to go. What about Yunin? How did she go to school? He looked at his messages, and under the sea of messages from Xiao Xiao, he finally saw one from Tang Yun. Faubert came to pick me up for school this morning. He said that you need to rest after healing him. I'm fine. You can rest well. He looked at Tang Yun's message and realized that it was Faubert who picked her up in the morning. Because Linny didn't wake up, Faubert knew that he had to pick Tang Yun up at school every day, so he naturally took on this responsibility. But he didn't know about Xiao Xiao's sudden incident, and the Miss and Yushu evidently didn't think of Xiao Xiao. After all, Xiao Xiao usually drove to school by herself. Who knew that she would have a date with Linny today? Linny sighed and decided to call Xiao Xiao first. Linny, you finally call me. I'm so happy. You called the small wife first. Xiao Xiao's excited voice came from the other side of the phone. He wanted to apologize to Xiao Xiao, because from her message he could tell that she was quite angry, and he did screw her over, making her wait the whole morning for nothing. But before Linny could say anything, Xiao Xiao called out excitedly, forcing Linny to swallow the apology he was about to say. I was healing someone and forgot the time, so I didn't wake up this morning. Linny said, Okay, I know. I knew you wouldn't ignore me for no reason. As expected, you didn't even talk to the big wife and called the small wife first. Yin sis is getting jealous. Xiao Xiao said happily. Xiao Xiao, what are you talking about? Who's getting jealous? Tang Yin said helplessly. She didn't feel anything about calling Xiao Xiao first. She didn't want to get jealous with Xiao Xiao, and besides, Xiao Xiao had called Linny a dozen times and texted him 20 times, while she only sent one. She'd already said that she knew about Lin Yi's situation, so it was reasonable for Lin Yi to call Xiao Xiao first. What was there to be jealous about? Oh, you're with Yunin? Lin Yi blinked, sweating. Tang Yin wouldn't be unhappy that he called Xiao Xiao first. Would she? But Tang Yun's voice didn't sound different, so she wasn't angry anymore. I couldn't find you, so I went to Yunin's sis. I asked and found out that you didn't come to pick me up because you were healing someone, Xiao Xiao said. Yunin's sis called you just now and got through, but you didn't pick up, so I called you a bunch, huh? Lin, he shook his head with a smile. This Xiao Xiao was quite an optimist, getting angry fast, getting happy fast, getting excited fast again. Are you coming to school in the afternoon? Xiao Xiao asked. Yeah, I'll be there in a bit. Lin Yi said. Okay. Xiao Xiao was excited. She'd gotten up in the middle of the night to dress up, preparing to surprise Lin Yi in the morning, but she didn't even see Lin Yi. She couldn't help but feel disappointed. If she didn't see Lin Yi today, her makeup would be for nothing. Give the phone to Yunin. I'll talk to her. Lin Yi said. Since Tang Yin was by Xiao Xiao's side, Lin Yi didn't need to bother calling. Okay, Yunin sis, Lin Yi's looking for you. Xiao Xiao passed the phone to Tang Yin. Tang Yin took the phone and couldn't help but smile. Lin Yi, you got a second wife and forgot about the main one? Haha, of course not. Lin Yi smiled. He could tell that Tang Yin was joking. Stop fooling around. Are you all right? If you're tired, then don't come in the afternoon. Tang Yin cared about Lin Yi. After all, she and Lin Yi had been together for a long time. She didn't need to rush to see Lin Yi. I'm fine. See you later. Lin Yi said casually. All right. See you later. Is there anything else you need from Xiao Xiao? Tang Yun asked. Nope. I'm hanging up. Lin Yi said before hanging up. Tang Yun gave the phone back to Xiao Xiao, who happily put it away. Yunin sis, I look good now, right? I don't need to touch up my makeup from this morning, right? It's already good. You don't need to. Tang Yun smiled. Really? That's not bad. Xiao Xiao nodded. Lin Yi drove to school and parked his car at the food street behind the school, next to Xiao Xiao's car. But beside Xiao Xiao's car, there was another luxury car. It was a black Lamborghini. Chapter 1023. Lin Yi jumped. Was this Xie Yufeng pretty rich? He bought a sports car on his first day of school transfer, but Lin Yi only took one look before walking back to school. What car Yufeng drove had nothing to do with him. As long as he didn't mess with him, he could do whatever he wanted. When Lin Yi got to school, it was already the first class in the afternoon. Lin Yi walked into the classroom and sat down at his desk. Not long after, the teacher walked in and started the afternoon class. Xiao Xiao was disappointed. Lin Yi didn't even look at her when he walked in. Didn't he notice that she was different from usual? Even that idiot Yufeng noticed it. After a while, Lin Yi still didn't look at her. He took out his textbook and listened to the teacher attentively. This made Xiao Xiao depressed. Ahem. Xiao Xiao couldn't take it anymore. She coughed twice, hoping to get Lin Yi's attention. What's wrong? Do you have a cold? Lin Yi heard Xiao Xiao's coughing and asked. But Lin Yi didn't even look at her when he asked. No. Xiao Xiao was even more depressed now. Hey, Lin Yi, talk to me. What? You're not paying attention anymore? Lin Yi asked. You always skip class. What's there to listen to? Talk to me. Xiao Xiao was panicking. Go ahead. I'm listening. Lin Yi nodded. You. Xiao Xiao was pissed. She couldn't hold it in anymore. Can't you turn around and look at me? Look at you? Why would I look at you? Lin Yi asked. Just tell me if you dare to look or not. Xiao Xiao said, panicking. Huh. Lin Yi's observation skills were extremely sharp. He'd seen Xiao Xiao the moment he entered the classroom, and he'd been stunned by her beauty. The first time he saw Xiao Xiao, she had heavy makeup on, looking like a non-mainstream girl. When she was at school, she didn't have any makeup on, but today she had light makeup on, and her hairstyle was meticulously styled. Even her clothes were carefully matched, with some simple accessories. It made Xiao Xiao look especially beautiful. It was just that Lin Yi wanted to tease Xiao Xiao, so he didn't say out loud. As expected, Xiao Xiao couldn't wait any longer. What are you laughing at? Xiao Xiao asked back. Do you dare to look or not? I wouldn't dare. Lin Yi shook his head. Huh? Xiao Xiao paused, not expecting Lin Yi to say no. This caused her to freeze for a moment. Then she immediately gritted her teeth. Lin Yi, why don't you dare? Because you're too pretty today. I only took one look at you when I came in, and my heart was already racing. I'm afraid that if I look too much, I'll molest you in the classroom, Lin Yi said. Xiao Xiao's mouth was wide open at Lin Yi's words, but then a smile blossomed on her face. So Lin Yi had seen what she looked like. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but feel happy. She started to say things when she was happy. It's fine, look again, I'm not afraid of being molested. Ahem. It was Lin Yi's turn to cough. Lin Yi, what's wrong? Do you have a cold? Xiao Xiao asked with a smile as she saw him coughing. She knew that Lin Yi was shocked by her words, but it was fun to scare Lin Yi a little. No. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Xiao Xiao, you really are pretty today. Good thing I didn't wake up early for nothing. I almost exploded when I didn't see you this morning. So, I went to the washroom to wash off my makeup and messed up my hair. Xiao Xiao smiled. Lin Yi was getting a little restless from Xiao Xiao, but now that both Tang Yun and Tianlong had agreed to the relationship between Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, and even Immerse and Shu weren't against it, Lin Yi couldn't resist the temptation anymore, and his hands started moving. Xiao Xiao suddenly felt Lin Yi's arms around her waist, and her face reddened. As brave as she was in a classroom, and the teacher was still teaching. She was starting to get nervous, but Lin Yi had finally taken the initiative to get close to her, and she didn't want to let go of Lin Yi's hand. Usually, Lin Yi wouldn't do something like this, and so Xiao Xiao was in a dilemma. Her body was stiff from nervousness, like a lobster that had come back to life. Lin Yi sensed that Xiao Xiao wasn't acting normally, and quickly took his hand away, blaming himself for being impulsive. Xiao Xiao was a girl, after all, and while she was a little bold, it wouldn't be good if other people saw him cuddling with her in the classroom. Xiao Xiao breathed out in relief when she felt Lin Yi's hand move away, but she was a little disappointed. Xiao Xiao's heart raced when Lin Yi touched her, and to tell the truth, she really liked this feeling. Was this the pleasure brought by intimate actions between lovers? Xiao Xiao knew that she didn't have much time left, and she didn't care if things progressed too fast or too slow. Since she'd chosen Lin Yi was her one and only boyfriend in this life, and also her last boyfriend. She was going to be 20 soon, and who knew when she'd die? She wanted to enjoy the feeling of being in a relationship, and she didn't have the time to be reserved. But she was afraid that she'd scare Lin Yi if she was too passionate. Tang Yin seemed to be a reserved person, right? At that thought, Xiao Xiao started to struggle. What a headache. She couldn't act too impatient. Xiao Xiao, I'm sorry. Lin Yi apologized bitterly, thinking that Xiao Xiao was angry when she didn't say anything. It's nothing. Xiao Xiao shook her head. We're sitting at the back, and no one can see us. You can continue if you want. Haha. We'll talk about it when there's no one around. Lin Yi controlled his desire and said. Oh. Xiao Xiao nodded, feeling a little down. But since Lin Yi said that they'd talk about it when there was no one around, that meant that Lin Yi had agreed. Lin Yi would always reject her, but now that he'd agreed, it made Xiao Xiao very happy. She whispered into Lin Yi's ear, when there's no one around, I'll let you touch my chest. Chapter 1024. Chapter 1022. Xie Yufeng's plans, but remembering that they were in the classroom, he shook his head. But Xiao Xiao's words were too tempting and destructive, and he didn't know how she managed to say it. Xiao Xiao didn't mean what she said, but the listener meant what she said. The only thing she could think of being intimate with Lin Yi was that time of the auction, so she just blurted it out naturally, not thinking too much about it. But from Lin Yi's point of view, it sounded a little tempting. Why were you reacting so strongly? Lin Yi's actions almost made Xiao Xiao's heart pop out of her chest. She was already nervous, and Lin Yi's sudden quack scared her. It's fine, Xiao Xiao, don't try to tempt me in class. Lin Yi said helplessly. Xiao Xiao blinked, blushing. Since when did I? Lin Yi smiled. Xiao Xiao turned her head away, embarrassed, not daring to look at Lin Yi. She was brave, but she couldn't take Lin Yi's teasing. But just as Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were teasing each other, an unfriendly gaze shot over, stopping on Xiao Xiao's face before glancing at Lin Yi's face. The owner of the gaze had a dark expression as he hemphed coldly. This kid's quite popular. Yeah, Master Xie. That kid's a bastard. He made Master Xie so miserable yesterday. Song Ming nodded. Master Xie can't fight. He has to hide his strength. Otherwise, that Lin, he won't be a match for Master Xie. He's just a mystic early phase. He's so weak in front of Master Xie. House Yu's current understanding of Lin Yi's strength came from Yu Kuan. At that time, Lin Yi was indeed at the early phase of Mystic class, and House Yu would never have dreamt that Lin Yi could rise 2 levels to the middle phase of Mystic class in such a short amount of time. As far as they were concerned, this was impossible and illogical. One had to know how long it would take to level up and what kind of price one had to pay. House Yu knew this very well, so they didn't think that Lin Yi could level up at all. So Yufeng didn't know that Lin Yi was already a Mystic mid-phase master. As far as he was concerned, he was a peak early-phase Mystic class master. It was more than enough to kill Lin Yi. He couldn't be blamed for thinking so. He didn't have a cheat like Lin Yi, so how could he see through Lin Yi's strength? Of course, but for the sake of House Yu's plan, I can't use my chi. I'll have to bear with it for now. Yu Feng hemphed coldly. This Xiao Xiao is a slut too. Look at that dirty face of hers, getting so close with Lin Yi. She's not a good person either. Right, did you find out anything about the girls I asked you to investigate? Yu Feng wasn't able to get Xiao Xiao yesterday, so naturally, he was pissed. Seeing how close Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi were, he wasn't too happy either. Master Xie, other than Meng Yao, we've investigated the rest. This Xiao Xiao's family isn't anything special. Her father may be a secret agent, but he wouldn't go against House Yu just because of his daughter. Song Ming said, what about the others? Yu Feng nodded. That Yu Shu is from House Chun. It's best if you don't touch her, Master Xie. Song Ming said, House Chun? Noble House Chun? Yu Feng asked. Yes, her brother is Chun Yutian. Although Chun Yutian is the only practitioner left, it's still a noble house. Song Ming said, so it's best if you don't touch her. Oh, then let her go for now. That girl's pretty bad. I really don't want to mess with her. Yu Feng nodded. What about that Tang Yun? Normal family. Her parents are laid off. They don't even have a house, staying in the hospital. Song Ming said, you can touch her, even if you kill her. Oh, not bad. Let's start with Xiao Xiao, then look for that Tang Yun. Yu Feng nodded. Master Xie, this Xiao Xiao girl doesn't seem to be easy to handle. Should we do something? Song Ming suggested. In Yanjing, House Yu was a big family, so Song Ming and Pong Hu didn't care about anything when they were with Yu Feng. As far as they were concerned, hitting on girls like this was a common thing. Not yet, let's wait and see. My charm hasn't been unleashed yet. Once it's unleashed, they'll throw themselves at me. Yu Feng remembered the scene of him getting beaten up yesterday, and couldn't help but grit his teeth. Fuck, yesterday was supposed to be a good opportunity, but that Lin Yi kid just had to be there. Not only did I get beaten up, I didn't even get to show my strength. Young Master Xie, those people from yesterday, do you need me, and Li Penghu? Song Ming made a beheading gesture as he said this. No need, we're new here, so it's best not to cause trouble. Yu Feng shook his head. We'll let them go for now, but we won't let this go just like that. We need to find out who they are first. No problem. Song Ming nodded. Yu Feng and the others were talking with their backs turned, so no one could hear them. Because of the angle they were at, they weren't worried that Lin Yi could read their lips. But, although Lin Yi didn't hear what they were saying, he knew that they were up to no good just by looking at how they were mumbling. He tightened his guard. The second class in the afternoon was physical education. Although some of the subjects were canceled for the 3rd year of high school, physical education was still maintained. First, it was to give the students a chance to exercise their bodies. Second, it was because Songshan City's high school entrance exam would be added to the physical education test. If they didn't pass, it would affect the exam. The additional PE test was a selective one, such as running, long jump, basketball, chin-ups, and sit-ups. The requirements for boys and girls were different as well. So, in order to get a good result in the PE test, the 12th year's PE class became a targeted training. It was just that in the summer, boys and girls didn't wear many clothes, and many girls wore skirts, so it was easier for them to be exposed. So, the PE class was separated for boys and girls, 1 week for girls. The girls were in the gymnasium, and there was a female PE teacher to guide them, so they didn't have to hide anything. Many girls would just take off their jackets when it was hot, and they just wear a tank top to train. Chapter 1025. Who's afraid? Just then, Yushu walked over and looked at Xiao Xiao. Oh, Miss Dumb, do you want to go to the gym and have a showdown with me? You're the dumb girl. Xiao Xiao humphed. Let's go, I'm not afraid of you. Xiao Xiao and Yushu hadn't decided who was stronger yesterday, and now that there was a chance, Xiao Xiao wouldn't let it go. Naturally, she didn't know that Yushu was the one who approached her. Meng Yao and Yushu had already discussed it, agreeing to Lin eat dating Xiao Xiao at the last stage of her life. But if things went according to yesterday's situation, there would be some conflict, and if things changed all of a sudden, Xiao Xiao would be suspicious. So, Meng Yao told Yushu to think of a way to get closer to Xiao Xiao. At the very least, they wouldn't be so out of place in the future. Lin Yi, here's your phone. Help me take care of it. Xiao Xiao gave the phone to Lin Yi. Phones weren't allowed in the gymnasium. One reason was that it would affect training, and the other was that people with bad intentions might take pictures of students with their phones. That would be a problem. And so, there were electronic detectors at the entrance of the gymnasium, and as time went by, no one brought their phones in anymore. They didn't feel safe leaving their phone in the box at the entrance, afraid that someone might take it away. Okay, Lenny nodded and took Xiao Xiao's phone, watching her and Yushu leave the classroom. A smile appeared on Lin Yi's lips. It seemed that Yushu had made her move. With Shu's methods, these two devils would probably be playing together soon. Lin Yi's guess was correct. Yushu was indeed making her move. She was planning to become Xiao Xiao's rival first, and then occasionally work together to mess with her. Their relationship would definitely grow stronger. Lin Yi's previous phone was broken by Ma Zhu, so he was using a phone that was similar to Shu's flip phone, but it had fewer functions. The system wasn't smart, and there wasn't much to play in the games. This class was a physical education class for the girls, but it was a self-study class for the boys. They could read in the classroom, and of course, no one would stop them if they wanted to go to the field to play. However, Year 3 students were more or less self-conscious. Who would want to play when the college entrance examination was coming up? Besides, even if he wanted to play, who would he play with? Could it be that he was playing by himself? Although Lin Yi would listen attentively in class, he would not review after class. After Xiao Xiao left, Lin Yi played with Xiao Xiao's phone casually, pulling out Plants vs. Zombies and playing it out of boredom. Boss, you're Xiao Xiao? Kong Xiaobo waited until all the girls were gone before turning around and asking with shifty eyes. What do you mean by with? It sounds so bad. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I heard you guys whispering in class. I think Xiao Xiao even asked you to touch her chest. Xiaobo said with a chuckle. Lin Yi was speechless. Did Kong Xiaobo hear that? But Lin Yi could only explain, I didn't touch her just now. You know how she is, she dares to say anything. Oh, Kong Xiaobo nodded. I know you didn't touch her, but you guys are developing pretty fast, aren't you? Plus, I saw her with Tang Yin this afternoon. Yeah, Lin Yi nodded. No way. She's that close with Tang Yin? Tang Yin agreed to your relationship with Xiao Xiao? Kong Xiaobo's eyes widened in shock. He had guessed that Tang Yin and Xiao Xiao were getting along peacefully, since they were talking and laughing when he saw them at noon. They didn't look like enemies at all. But hearing Lin Yi's confirmation, Kong Xiaobo gave him a thumbs up. Boss, you're amazing. Too awesome. I admire you so much. You're a master amongst masters at picking up girls. Sweat. Lin Yi sweated. Tang Yin actually accepted Xiao Xiao first, and then she asked me to accept her. You're getting it backwards, wah? Kong Xiaobo almost rolled his eyes at Lin Yi's words. Tang Yin accepted her first? That's why Lin Yi accepted her? Are you kidding me? How is that possible? Tang Yin helped Lin Yi find a mistress? All right, it's a bit complicated. I'll tell you in detail later. Lin, he didn't want to hide Xiao Xiao's condition from Kong Xiaobo. Only when Kong Xiaobo understood everything would he be able to cooperate with him. What is it? Tell me now. Kong Xiaobo was curious. Sure. Lin nodded. Let's go for a walk then. Kong Xiaobo stood up with Lin, and the two left the classroom, heading downstairs. Yu Feng, Song Ming, and Peng Hu, on the other hand, were whispering to each other, plotting something. Master Xie, I heard that girls don't wear much in PE class, and some of them are revealing. Song Ming said softly. Oh, Yu Feng was interested, really? Of course it's true. Think about it, it's summer now, and the gym is hot. You'd be sweating when you exercise, and then… Heh, Song Ming said with a perverted smile. Then wouldn't there be a lot of peeping? You just transferred here, and you already know about it. How could the people who used to study here not know about it? Yu Feng didn't really believe it. Of course they know, but the gym's windows are really high, and the shortest is at least 3 meters. Who can even look up there? Song Ming smiled. Only a master like you can fly up there. But that's not a good idea, right? What if someone sees it? Yu Feng hesitated. Although peeping was very exciting, he couldn't afford to lose his reputation, especially when he wanted to pick up girls in school. He might feel good after peeping for a while, but if he was discovered, his reputation would go down the drain. Behind the gym is the mountain behind the school. Who would see it? Song Ming smiled. I've already scouted the area. You planned this all along, huh? Yu Feng nodded after hearing that the back of the gym was facing the mountain behind the school. That's right. I've already thought about it. I'll use the camera to take pictures of Xiao Xiao and the others, and use it to threaten them. If they don't listen to Master Xie, I'll expose them. Let's see how shameless they are. Chapter 1026. Fight to the death. All right, we'll go now. Is the camera ready? Yu Feng asked. Phones won't be able to record clearly. Of course, it's a new product, 60x optical zoom. I just bought it. Song Ming took out a small camcorder from his bag and smiled at Yu Feng. What do you think? Not bad, right? I heard you can even use it to shoot AV. Oh, it looked pretty good. Yu Feng took it and played with it before giving it back to Song Ming. Let's go, we'll go peep. The three walked out of the classroom, and Yu Feng suddenly remembered that he had left the classroom as well. He wouldn't be peeping too, would he? It's possible. Song Ming nodded. Why else would he go out? Don't let him see us. Yu Feng frowned. It'd be better if he sees us. We'll use the camera to record him, and when the thief calls the thief, we'll expose him to the world. Let's see if he'll lose his reputation. Wang Song Ming smiled disapprovingly. He was a rather insidious person, and he could always think of some dirty tricks. That a good idea, killing without leaving a trace. Linny, let's see if he's good with women. We'll expose him for peeping on girls in PE class. Yu Feng nodded in approval. Naturally, didn't know that Yu Feng was already thinking of him as a pervert. Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo were sitting on a flower bed in the school field, talking. Boss, does that mean Xiao Xiao is really going to die? She has a terminal illness, and even you can't do anything about it? Kong Xiaobo's eyes went wide after hearing Lin Yi's explanation. He never would have thought that the energetic Xiao Xiao was someone who was about to die. I can't do anything about it either. Lin Yi shook his head helplessly. My medical skills aren't omnipotent. It's limited to the known illnesses, but for the unknown, I can't do anything about it. I said it before, I can't find anything in Xiao Xiao's body. How am I supposed to cure her? That's true. We don't even know what illness she has. So how can we cure it? Kong Xiaobo sighed. She's so pitiful. Even the heavens are jealous of her beauty. Yeah, I thought she had an ulterior motive when she approached me, but it doesn't matter now. She's willing to let me teach her how to race or anything else. She only has less than a year left to live, and I'll try my best to satisfy her wishes. Lin Yi had thought things through as well. If Xiao Xiao liked racing, then he'd do his best to satisfy her wishes, but this racing couldn't be done on normal roads. It was too dangerous. Lin Yi decided to bring Xiao Xiao to a race and let her experience what it was like to race. Boss, actually, Xiao Xiao told me a couple times about you before, but I didn't tell you. Kong Xiaobo decided to be honest with Lin Yi after some hesitation. Oh, Lin Yi narrowed his eyes as he smiled at Kong Xiaobo. Kong Xiaobo was a little embarrassed from Lin Yi's stare. He coughed dryly. Boss, actually, Xiao Xiao told me that she likes you and wants to pursue you. I saw how pitiful she was and my heart softened. I told her how to pursue you. Oh, how? Lin Yi smiled. I told her that you're a good person, boss, and you can be persuaded but not cowed. If she goes against you, then there's no hope, but if she goes along with you, then there's still hope. Kong Xiaobo said, embarrassed. Haha, it's nothing. Lin Yi nodded. Kong Xiaobo's words weren't anything confidential, but as one of Lin Yi's most trusted people, Lin Yi still reminded him. Xiaobo, you mean well, but don't say these things again. You need to learn how to keep a secret. I know, boss. I regretted it a few days after I said it. Kong Xiaobo smiled bitterly. I read some books about business and management, and they all mentioned the importance of business secrets. But now that I said it, I'm relieved. This isn't considered a business secret. Lin, he waved his hand. But if you see a girl who likes me and asks her to chase me, I can't stand it. This kind of good thing. Why doesn't it happen to me? Kong Xiaobo also smiled. All right, boss. The product launch at the beginning of next month, Boss Lai also asked me to attend, but I think I'm still in the internship stage. It's not suitable for me to walk on the stage, right? What's not suitable about it? There will be more occasions like this in the future. There will be a process of adaptation, Lin Yi said. When the time comes, just follow Fatty Lai and watch more. Okay, boss. Kong Xiaobo nodded. Let's go, we'll just walk around. Lin Yi sat for a while and felt that the sun was a little hot. So he stood up. Kong Xiaobo had decided to work hard on his business, so the college entrance exams weren't that important anymore. He just needed to spend money to get into a university. He didn't need to be too serious. Studying hard for more than 10 years was just to have a good future, and now that Kong Xiaobo had a bright future, he wouldn't put the cart before the horse. Looking at the familiar campus, Kong Xiaobo felt a little emotional. 2 months ago, he was just a normal student, but after meeting Lin Yi, everything changed. He became the vice president of a company, and he even found a beautiful girlfriend. Although her leg was a little lame, with Lin Yi around, it wouldn't be a problem if it was cured. In the school gymnasium, Xiao Xiao and Yushu were ready for a fight to the death. The two were at the starting line, their eyes wide open as they glared at each other. I told you couldn't do it. You threw the medicine ball so close, you almost hit your own foot. Yushu said proudly. I finally know what it means to shoot yourself in the foot. You're fat. That's why you're stronger than me. Xiao Xiao wasn't happy. She had never practiced medicine ball before, either skipping classes or going to the doctor in school. She didn't have time to study medicine ball. So naturally, she lost to Yushu the first time she threw it. Chapter 10:27. Chapter 10:25. Successful counterattack. Shu. How could you say something so rude? Meng Yao, who was standing beside Yushu, glared at her when she heard what Yushu said. Yao Yao, I got it. Yushu stuck her tongue out. You. Xiao Xiao's heart was about to explode as she glared at Yushu. I'll beat you in sprinting for sure. Those 2 balls in front of your chest are just a burden. You'll die from running later. Cut them off if you want to win. I think you're just jealous. Yushu didn't mind at all. Don't you see that your Yun sis is starting to get her breasts enlarged? You're too flat. Shield bro doesn't like the small ones. Meng Yao, on the other hand, frowned. Lin, you didn't like the little ones? Then, should she get her breasts enlarged as well? Even Tang Yin was starting to get her breasts enlarged. She couldn't fall behind. The miss had never thought about getting her breasts enlarged before. After all, she'd always lived in a world where she was the center, and she only had Shu as a friend. She didn't need to get her breasts enlarged for anyone, and she didn't care if a man liked her breasts or not. But now, Meng Yao realized that she was starting to care about these things. Yes, it wasn't that she cared. It was that she'd grown up and loved to look pretty. Meng Yao found an excuse for herself. That's right. She loved to look pretty when she'd grown up. Who said that? Lin, he touched it. And he said it was good. It felt good. He really liked touching it. Xiao Xiao said furiously. Touched you? When? Yushu blinked. A while ago, in Yinjing, I was sitting next to him at the auction. Xiao Xiao said logically, wanting Yushu to know that she wasn't making it up. Oh, so it's only once? Yushu breathed out in relief, giggling. Shield bro always touched me when he was at home. A couple times already. Bullshit, Xiao Xiao said with a smile on her face. She saw the PE teacher raise the flag in his hand, getting ready to run. You're the one who's bullshitting. Yushu was about to retort when she realized something was wrong. Xiao Xiao was already gone. Sister Yao Yao and the others also started to run. Haha, big idiot Shu, I'm going first. Xiao Xiao was dancing around happily. I'm going to win for sure this time. Wait for me, you're cheating. Yushu started running, chasing after Xiao Xiao, but this was a 100-meter dash, and Xiao Xiao was already so far away. How was Yushu going to catch up? In order to run faster, Yushu put her hands on her chest as she ran, but by the time she reached the finish line, Xiao Xiao was already a few seconds away. Ha! Xiao Xiao was on the verge of tears. Ha! I won. Xiao Xiao Xiao. Why don't you laugh yourself to death? No wonder you're called Xiao Xiao. Yushu was pissed. I wouldn't have lost if you hadn't cheated. What do you mean cheated? The teacher waved the flag, and I started running. What kind of cheated is that? You didn't see it yourself, and you're saying I cheated? You're just a little bit of a renege on society. Xiao Xiao finally countered Yushu's shamelessness perfectly. Yushu didn't expect this Xiao Xiao to be this strong as well. She couldn't get the upper hand at all when fighting her, and the two of them were evenly matched right now. Ha ha ha! I'm dying of laughter. Xiao Xiao didn't stop laughing, but after 2 laughs, she stopped abruptly, clutching her stomach as she crouched down in pain. Yushu looked at Xiao Xiao, confused. What's wrong? I just ran, and I'm laughing so hard it hurts. Xiao Xiao said weakly as she crouched on the ground. Yushu's eyes went wide, almost bursting out in laughter. What did it mean to have extreme joy turn to sorrow? This was it. She was a living example. But remembering Xiao Xiao's pitiful life, Yushu couldn't laugh anymore. She crouched down and pulled Xiao Xiao up. Let's go. I'll help you to the chair over there to rest. The PE teacher noticed something was wrong and walked over, asking what was going on. Meng Yao stayed behind to explain, telling the teacher that Xiao Xiao was just choking, and the teacher let out a sigh of relief before leaving. If something were to happen to the student, the PE teacher would be held responsible as well. Xiao Xiao looked at Yushu shocked. The two were enemies, and she didn't believe that Yushu would be so nice as to help her to rest. You're really going to help me to rest? Xiao Xiao looked at Yushu in disbelief. Oh, Yushu's brain spun furiously. She was indeed acting a little out of the ordinary. Logically speaking, she should be pointing at Xiao Xiao and laughing when she saw her pained face. But Yushu really couldn't laugh at all. However, she finally thought of a reasonable reason and said, I'm evenly matched. Naturally, I won't let you die so quickly. I, little Shu, am a very upright person. I never take advantage of others. So, let's wait for you to rest first, then we'll compete again. It's a tie now. Haha, I see. Xiao Xiao nodded after hearing Yushu's explanation. You're not a bad person. If you didn't fight with me over Lin Yi, we'd be playing together. Yeah, I think so too. Yushu nodded. The two sat on the chairs at the side of the gym and rested. After resting for a while, Xiao Xiao felt more or less recovered, but she didn't dare do any more strenuous exercises. I'm afraid I can't fight you today. I'm still feeling a little uncomfortable, and I'm afraid I'll have a chest ache again. It's fine. We'll fight with words if we can't fight. Yushu said nonchalantly. Fight with words? Xiao Xiao blinked. Fight with pranks. See who's better at pranking. Yushu said, that's a good idea, but who are we pranking? I'll say this first. I'm not going to prank Linny. Xiao Xiao's but hurt just thinking about pranking Linny. Plus, she didn't want to prank Lin Yi right now. Oh, you can't prank Shield Bro. He's too strong. Only an idiot would prank him, Yushu shook her head and looked at Xiao Xiao, smiling evilly. Chapter 1028. Chapter 1026. The prankster duo in action, nothing. Yushu looked up at the sky, as if saying she didn't know anything and didn't need to ask her anything. But all of a sudden, Yushu let out a yelp. What's wrong? Xiao Xiao was curious. Look at the window above us. Yushu pointed at the top of her head with a weird look on her face. What's wrong with the window? Xiao Xiao raised her head, confused, but what she saw gave her a big fright. There was a person lying on the ground outside the window, but there was a security net outside the window, so people couldn't stick their heads in from the outside. Xie Yufeng. Xiao Xiao recognized the person on the window. It was the new transfer student from yesterday. She couldn't help but get a little annoyed. This guy looks like a dog, but why is he so perverted? Peeking at girls' training? Yeah, but we found him. Yushu's face lit up with excitement. Xiao Xiao nodded, understanding Yushu's gaze. The two didn't need to talk much, and they were already making their way to the gym's warehouse. The gym teacher didn't lock the door when he opened the warehouse to take out the medicine balls and other training equipment, since they still had to put them back after class. There was no way the teacher would think that someone would go into the warehouse during class. Yushu and Xiao Xiao went into the storehouse to look for tools to mess with people. The gymnasium storehouse was really big, and there were a lot of things. Other than sports training equipment, there were also sports clothes and school security uniforms. Haha. Yushu pulled out a couple of ice skates and nail shoes from a rack, smiling. Xiao Xiao looked at the weapons in Yushu's hands, her lips curling up slightly. You want them to fall and sit on it? Yeah, but how do we make them fall down? Yushu nodded, troubled as well. Xiao Xiao's eyes scanned the warehouse before landing on something. She quickly ran over and picked it up, waving her hand happily. Leave this to me. I'll let them have a taste of the stun baton. There was a stun baton in Xiao Xiao's hands. These were used by the school's security guards when they patrolled the school at night. Naturally, there were extra ones, just like the security guards' uniforms, which were kept in the warehouse. Then we'll split up. Yushu felt that this Xiao Xiao was a match made in the first place. Yu Feng and the others were dead for sure. No problem. Xiao Xiao raised her right hand. Yushu raised her hand and high-fived Xiao Xiao. Let's celebrate a big victory. After I set up the trap, I'll meow like a cat under the adjacent window. Then you'll shock them down. With that, Yushu ran out of the gymnasium with a bunch of nail shoes and ice skates. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, took the electric baton and went to the window next to Yufeng's. This was a blind spot, and if Yufeng didn't intentionally look down, he wouldn't be able to see the people on the seats. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was sitting next to the window, and it was even harder to see. Yufeng, Penghu, and Songming all climbed up the wire mesh on top of the window. The mesh was a bit high, but with the help of Yufeng's chi, Penghu and Songming were easily pulled up. Did you find her? How come I don't see Xiao Xiao? Yufeng looked outside the window for a long time, but he didn't see Xiao Xiao anywhere. He mumbled to himself, "This girl isn't skipping class, is she? Yeah, I don't see her either, but I see Meng Yao. She's wearing shorts, and she didn't take off her shirt, so there's nothing to see." Songming said regretfully. "I don't see that big tits Yushu either." Penghu said pervertedly. "Every time I think of her breasts, I can't sleep." Yushu had just walked under the three when she heard Penghu talking bad about her. She was pissed. Her breasts were for shield bro, and he dared to fantasize about her? I'll leave this ice skate to you. You better sit on your balls. Yushu lined up the ice skate and nail shoes in the path of the three's fall, and she snuck under the wall next to the window. This way, the three wouldn't be able to see her from their angle. After doing all this, Yushu pinched her nose and meowed like a cat. Meow. The cat's meow gave the three of them a scare. Yufeng was a mystic, but in order to hide his identity, he didn't dare use his chi casually. He only used a bit of chi when he went up the wire, and the rest was suppressed inside his body. Who knew when Lin Yi would show up? He saw Lin Yi come out of the class. What if Lenny came here? So naturally, he didn't notice Yushu coming over. What's that sound? Yu Feng frowned. Sounds like a cat, it's fine. Song Ming shook his head. Yeah, it's a cat, and it's a female cat in heat. Peng Hu added. Oh, Yu Feng nodded and continued peeping. Yushu was pissed. Your mother is the female cat in heat. You'll get it later. In the gymnasium, Xiao Xiao heard Yushu's signal and quickly climbed up the back of the seat to the edge of the window. Since there were seats to support her feet, and the inside of the gymnasium was higher than the outside, it was easy for her to climb up to the window. Hee hee. Xiao Xiao grinned and turned on the electrobaton, stabbing it into the barbed wire. The wires outside the window were all interconnected, and so when Xiao Xiao touched them with the baton, Yu Feng, Song Ming, and Peng Hu cried out in pain, shivering as they fell off the wire. But the moment he landed, he saw the spiked shoes and ice skates, and he jumped in fright. If he sat on them, he'd get an anal fistula. Yu Feng jumped in fright. He subconsciously wanted to use his qi to protect himself and jump away. That would push Song Ming and Peng Hu away. Isn't this Yu Feng? Are you a trapeze artist? You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.